This page is the cover of Beep! Powerful Mega Magazine Mega Drive from November 1990, priced at 480 yen. The artwork is a vibrant, pop art-style collage featuring abstract shapes and playful characters. The cover highlights a bonus supplement, Beep! Mega Drive Jr., which is the inaugural issue and is packed with tips, Mega Modem info, and details on the Game Gear. Major features include a look at the current state of the gaming industry, a roundtable discussion with game developers and magazine editors, and a direct comparison titled Mega Drive vs. Super Famicom, exploring how the gaming landscape will change with the Super Famicom's arrival. There's also a focus on Sega's RPGs, specifically mentioning the appearance of Shining and the Darkness. Games listed as featured include Darius 2, Burning Force, Rainbow Islands, Exa Revival, Aeroflash, Atomic RoboKid, Granada, Star Cruiser, Hellfire, along with 2 Japanese mahjong/gambling titles, Gambler Jiko Tsushima and Masayuki Katayama's Mahjong Dojo. This page showcases the power and speed of the Mega Drive, stating that cartridge entertainment is overflowing. It features the Mega Drive console itself, highlighting its high-power 16-bit capabilities. 3 upcoming games are shown: Aeroflash, a futuristic shooter; Monster Lair, Wonder Boy 2-1, Monster Lair, described as a comical action game; and Dynamite Duke, a title featuring shooting and punching action. Release details for these games in October are also provided. This page introduces Sega's push into portable gaming with the Game Gear, emphasizing the color excitement and portable impact of their new handheld. It features the Game Gear console, highlighting its full-color screen and the ability to add an optional TV tuner pack to turn it into a color LCD television. The page showcases popular Game Gear titles available, including the high-speed racing of Super Monaco GP, the incredibly popular gem-matching puzzle game Columns, and the block-pushing maze action of Pengo, featuring cute characters. Sega positions itself as leading the way with innovative game machines. This page showcases the intense shooting action of Granada, a top-down, maneuverable tank shooter that I know well from its excellent Mega Drive port. The striking illustration captures the chaotic futuristic combat, featuring the main vehicle, the Granada, amidst explosions and enemy fire in a jungle setting, contrasting with the more sterile military structures in the background. The text highlights the game's challenging AI and the addition of an original stage, promising a more powered-up shooting experience. It specifically mentions the enemy characters having unique programs for each stage, praising their excellent movements and clever algorithms, which are noted as impressive even to casual observers. The page also gives brief descriptions of a few stages, from bloody urban combat with powerful enemy mechs, to high-altitude highway battles and tense nighttime missions. Although the screenshots displayed are from the X68000 version, the core gameplay and challenge are faithfully represented in the Mega Drive release. Developed by Wolf Team, Granada delivers tactical shooting combined with relentless action, making it a standout title for fans of the genre. This page features Axis, another title developed by Wolf Team, known for their dynamic action games. Axis is presented as a thrilling battlefield experience from a unique quarter-view perspective, which provides a three-dimensional view of the game field. The game boasts variable scrolling, allowing for flexible movement speeds. A key strategic element involves customizing your NAP, the player unit, with up to 14 attachments. This machine coordinate system lets you enhance firepower and durability by adding units, but at the cost of maneuverability, forcing players to make strategic choices. The player character itself features an impressive 128 animation patterns, resulting in remarkably smooth and impactful movements. The game field is highly varied, spanning 7 areas and 14 stages, with diverse layouts designed to heighten the action. The page includes striking character artwork by Haruhiko Mikimoto, featuring a large mecha, a male pilot, and a female character, along with small pixelated screenshots showcasing the quarter-view gameplay across different environments. A First Press limited edition bonus included special illustration postcards by Mikimoto. Published by Wolf Team and Gamers Hot Access, Axis was released on October 12th, offering a blend of strategic customization and action-packed shooting. This page features Zan, Yasha and Bukyoku, another upcoming title for the Sega Mega Drive developed by Wolf Team, known for the game Axis previously seen. The dominant visual is a dramatic image of burning fire or embers, suggesting an intense or war-torn setting. The page includes 2 small screenshots, showcasing the game's title screen, which displays the full Japanese title and the Wolf Team copyright, and a strategic map screen, hinting at gameplay elements beyond direct action. Zan Yasha en Bukyoku is scheduled for release in late December at a price of 8,500 yen, excluding tax. The page also confirms it is officially licensed Sega Mega Drive software. This page showcases Zan Gear, an upcoming title for the Sega Game Gear developed by Wolf Team. It prominently features a dramatic, fiery background of burning wood, suggesting an intense or historical setting for the game. The vertical text on the left translates to, "The Zan series enters the battle fully prepared." Unlike the Mega Drive game Zan Yasha en Bukyoku seen previously, this is a Game Gear entry in the series. The page includes two small screenshots. The first is the title screen, clearly showing Gear and the Wolf Team copyright from 1993. The second and third screenshots depict what appears to be a strategic map view and a gameplay scene, suggesting tactical or RPG elements alongside action. Zan Gear is confirmed for release on October 21st, with a price of 3,800 yen, excluding tax. This makes it a distinct and separate game from the Mega Drive title, hitting the handheld market earlier and at a different price point. It is confirmed to be officially licensed Sega Game Gear software. The page also includes contact information for Wolf Team. This page features gambler Jiko Chushinha Masayuki Katayama's Mahjong Dojo for the Sega Mega Drive. It's a mahjong game based on the popular manga series, but this MD version undergoes a significant transformation into a school drama, featuring a completely original story, told through numerous visual scenes. The game promises 8 characters exclusive to the Mega Drive version, among a total of 21 opponents waiting for the player. Screenshots showcase some of these visual scenes, featuring different characters in various settings like a classroom and outside a building, indicating the story mode's presentation. Characters from the manga are depicted in a cartoon style, including the protagonist, and several rivals like the principal of Suwon-ku High School. Scheduled for a December release, the game utilizes a 4-membrum cartridge and is priced at 6,800 yen excluding tax. The page highlights the class competition mode as a key feature, emphasizing the rivalries and mahjong challenges within the school setting. This page focuses on Kapagi Sujaku-dan, another mahjong title based on the works of manga artist Masayuki Katayama for the Sega Mega Drive. It presents itself as a character-driven mahjong experience featuring the Kapagi Sujaku team and other opponents. A significant feature highlighted is the Mahjong Dojo training mode, offering over 250 detailed questions and explanations on improving your mahjong skills, guided by various teachers. There's also a free match mode, where you can challenge a wide roster of opponents, including a group called the Tenorins, described as high school girls who don't even know the fundamentals, suggesting a range of skill levels among the opponents. The game boasts high-quality audio thanks to new music and voice drivers, featuring 18 different background music tracks, with 3 selectable during a match. Screenshots demonstrate the training mode interface, the Mahjong game screen, and a character selection grid showing numerous potential opponents. The overall presentation leans into the manga's quirky and humorous style. This page unveils the dramatic shooting game, Gaia, for the Sega Mega Drive. The bold headline challenges the player with the choice between extinction or survival, placing the fate of Earth directly in their hands. The game introduces the Armed Learning Unit WOES and promises a shocking BM power system that aims to revolutionize the shooting genre. Visually, the page is dominated by a striking anime illustration of a central female character, hinting at her importance to the narrative, set against a backdrop of space. The accompanying text details the premise. Earth is in peril, and humanity's last hope rests with the protagonist and the advanced WOES unit. It likely elaborates on how the unique BM power system integrates into the gameplay, providing a distinct experience from typical shooters of the era. Developed by Reno, Gaia appears to blend intense shooting action with a compelling, high-stakes story. This page introduces Gaiaris, a compelling shooting game currently in development by Telenet Japan for the Sega Mega Drive. The prominent artwork features a striking anime illustration of a woman alongside a futuristic spacecraft, setting a tone for this sci-fi shooter. The text confirms that development is progressing smoothly. As expected for a licensed title, the page includes confirmation of Sega's authorization for the game's release on the Mega Drive. Additionally, the page contains supplementary sections, including an announcement for the Japan Telenet Users Club and a recruitment drive for new staff, providing standard publisher information. This page delves into Hellfire, a superb horizontal scrolling shooter by Toplan that made its way to the Mega Drive, published by NCS under the Messiah label. Originally a hit in arcades, the Mega Drive version offers exclusive options and powerful new weapons, building upon the acclaimed gameplay. Utilizing a substantial 4 megabit room cartridge, the game features impressive graphics and a driving soundtrack that really enhances the atmosphere. The screenshots showcase the intense shooting action against varied alien forces and intricate stage designs, a hallmark of Toplan's shooters. The narrative text introduces the game's premise. In 1990 Space Calendar, 6 planets on the edge of the galaxy are attacked by a mysterious military force, and a young captain named Lancer pilots the Hellfire space battle machine to push back the invasion. Released in 1990, it was designed specifically for solo players. This page serves as an alert for the upcoming Mega Drive release of Star Cruiser, a unique 3D shooting and adventure game. Originally a hit on Japanese personal computers, this port promises true, full-directional 3D graphics, a significant technical feat for the Mega Drive at the time, powered by a large 4 megabit room. The text highlights beautiful graphics and BGM, along with a much-appreciated battery backup save feature, allowing players to stop their adventure mid-game. Screenshots showcase both intense space combat and potentially exploration elements, hinting at the game's genre blend. Published by NCS under the Messiah label, the game was developed by Arsis Software and is scheduled for release towards the end of the year for 7,500 yen. This page serves as an early announcement for the Mega Drive fantasy shooting game, Wings of War, originally titled Ginug in Japan. The prominent artwork features a disturbing, biomechanical face, hinting at the grotesque and horrific enemies players will encounter. The striking visual sets a dark tone reinforced by the Japanese tagline, which translates to, "Terror shines within the darkness." Published by NCS Messiah, the game was scheduled for release the following January, with an estimated price of 6,500 yen. This announcement focuses entirely on the game's unique and unsettling atmosphere, not showing any actual gameplay footage or screenshots. This page features an announcement for the upcoming Sega Mega Drive title, Yoko the Demon Hunter, developed by NCS/Messiah, the same publisher behind Wings of War. The striking artwork showcases the protagonist, Yoko, a young girl in a red outfit, poised with a large sword, highlighting the game's action-oriented nature. Described as a dramatic action game, it focuses on 16-year-old Yoko, a demon hunter facing her destiny as malevolent creatures invade the human world. Set for a winter release with a price of 6,500 yen, the page also hints at a broader media mix strategy, expanding the Yoko the Demon Hunter universe through anime OAVs and other media like novels and music crids, demonstrating a significant investment in the property. Small screenshots provide glimpses of the character and gameplay sequences. This page announces Atomic RoboKid for the Mega Drive, an enhanced port of the popular arcade action game, where a robot must fight through labyrinths to save humanity. This page features a major announcement for the Sega Mega Drive port of the arcade shoot-'em-up heavy unit. Titled Mega Drive Special, this version promises significant enhancements over the original arcade game, including improved sound and altered enemy behavior, making it a unique experience specifically for Mega Drive owners. Described as tackling a desperate situation, the game puts players in control of a transforming mech, battling strange biological threats. The page showcases the impressive player mech and a monstrous, multi-limbed enemy. It highlights Kaneko, the original developer, as a super powerhouse in the arcade industry, and confirms the game is published by Toho. It was scheduled for release in December, with a provisional price of 6,400 yen, and is compatible with the sound charger accessory. This page features a bold advertisement for Toplan's classic arcade shoot-'em-up, Fire Shark, making its debut on the Sega Mega Drive. Announced for a nationwide release on November 2nd with a price of 6,500 yen, the ad highlights the faithful port of the arcade experience to the home console. The striking artwork depicts a gritty pilot, a biplane engaged in combat over naval vessels, and the game's title rendered dramatically. The advertisement emphasizes that players can now experience the arcade's intensity on their Mega Drive, featuring 10 challenging stages and multiple difficulty levels with weapon power-ups available. It's presented as the time to take flight and unleash destruction. This page showcases the horizontal shoot-'em-up in Sector X for the Sega Mega Drive. The artwork features a striking depiction of a modified insect-like creature, fitting the game's theme of a modified insect army attack. The text highlights the game's unique hyper-real approach, featuring characters that are a blend of mecha and insects. Key features include an original soundtrack, a dual weapon system allowing players to switch between air and ground attacks, backgrounds designed from an insect's perspective, and a structure of 5 rounds each containing multiple scenes. Developed by HOTB, Insector X is presented as a challenging and visually distinct shooter, emphasizing its intense gameplay and unique setting. The page announces that the game is currently on sale. This page features 2 upcoming titles from Micronet for the Mega Drive. First, we see Junction, a puzzle action game licensed by Konami. Previously popular in arcades, Micronet has evolved it into a home console experience. The description highlights its simple control of moving blocks to change the course, dynamic enemy appearances, item drops, and beautiful graphics and sound. It's presented as a fun and addictive experience, scheduled for release in November 1990. Below, the page introduces Ambition of Caesar, a real-time war simulation. Presented with artwork of Roman leaders over a map, this 8-megabit game promises a grand-scale experience. The text suggests it's time to answer the call, putting the player in the role of Caesar himself. It challenges players to recreate the triumphs of the undefeated general and become the king of Rome. This strategic title is set for a December 1990 release. This page serves as the table of contents for the November 1990 issue, giving readers a roadmap to the exciting content within. It prominently features a new release scramble section previewing upcoming titles like the tactical RPG Warsong, the challenging shooter Ginug, known as Wings of War, the arcade racer Hard Drivin', and the intense action of Shadow Dancer. Further on, the B-Mega Hot menu dives into even more releases, including the home port of Sagaia, Darius 2, the puzzle platformer Rainbow Islands Extra version, the classic shooter Hellfire, the unique perspective of Granada, and the block shuffling puzzle game Junction, which was discussed on the previous page. Major features highlighted include a fascinating look at working women in the game industry, complete with roundtable discussions, and a timely showdown piece comparing the Mega Drive against the newly arriving Super Famicom to analyze the future landscape of gaming. There's also a preview of the highly anticipated RPG Shining in the Darkness. The page also lists a variety of regular columns and sections covering news, strategy, community features, technical data, and even cheat codes, promising a comprehensive look at the Mega Drive scene in late 1990. Screenshots tease action from games like Sagaia and a top-down shooter, hinting at the visual variety covered within the magazine. This page is the B-Megadog Race Review column, presenting an on-sale one-match contest, where multiple reviewers weigh in on a key release. The column format involves several different writers providing their scores and opinions. The main game featured is Rainbow Islands, listed as releasing on October 5th. The screenshot shows the classic bubble-shooting, rainbow-creating gameplay. The reviewers offer a range of perspectives. Mayumi Okada found its colorful, fairy tale style appealing and easy to enjoy, scoring it an 8. CX Kuji felt the game was difficult in its arcade form and wasn't thrilled with the Mega Drive version's difficulty, recommending it mainly to arcade fans, giving a 6. Kaizu Ningen Ino praised the port quality as the best on the Mega Drive among similar titles, despite some processing weight, finding it a game that improves with play, and noting the inclusion of the extra version made it a great value, awarding a 9. Jam Ojisan found it easy to pick up and recommended it to anyone looking for a pleasant change of pace, scoring an 8. Overall, the page showcases a varied reception for the game among the magazine's staff. This page continues the game review section, featuring opinions from multiple reviewers on 4 different titles released in October. First up is Cyborg 009, FZ Senki Axis, from Wolf Team, a shooting game. Reviewers appreciate its ambitious ideas like the quarter view and options, but find the execution lacking, noting the narrow map and awkward movement. It's seen as an interesting attempt that didn't fully deliver, averaging scores around 6 or 7. Next is Splatterhouse Part 2 from Sunsoft, an action game. The horror theme and fighting feel are noted, though some find it too difficult or potentially off-putting. Reviewers generally find the action and atmosphere interesting, recommending it for those who enjoy the genre or versus play, with scores hovering around 6. Then there's Burning Force from Namco, a shooting game. It's praised for its sense of speed and refreshing power-ups, but criticized for a lack of tension and bland progressions. Some comparisons are made unfavorably to Space Harrier 2. Scores average around 6 or 7. Finally, Arrow Flash from Sega, another shooting game. Reviewers found this Sega original to be mediocre, with plain backgrounds and power-ups. While the transforming ship idea is good, the stages lack variety, and the overall experience is seen as repetitive and unengaging, receiving scores generally in the 5 to 6 range. This month's game reviews include Telltale Stadium, Atomic RoboKid, and Fire Shark. Telltale Stadium, a baseball simulation, offers online modem play but is considered somewhat plain, though the game length is not slow. Atomic RoboKid, a challenging arcade port, provides a solid experience with strategic weapon use, despite slightly less sharp graphics than the original. Fire Shark, another Toplan title, is a highly praised vertical shooter, lauded for its intensity, unique explosions, and accessible difficulty adjustments compared to the arcade version. Reviewers recommend Fire Shark as a must-buy, giving it top marks. The reviews conclude with a note on the prevalence of action and shooting games this month, and a clarification that scores are relative to other platforms. This page covers an exciting announcement for the Mega Drive. Sega is developing a new RPG currently titled Shining and Darkness, which we know was later released internationally as Shining in the Darkness. The article highlights this as Sega's experiential RPG, aiming for a March release next year. It's a first-person 3D dungeon crawler, a genre that was gaining popularity. Sega is working with external staff on this project, a notable first for one of their RPGs. The text emphasizes the graphical detail and the feeling of immersion as you navigate the dungeons, promising an experience that lives up to the experiential RPG concept. Screenshots show the detailed 3D dungeon view and encounters with enemies like pumpkinheads and other undead creatures, hinting at the visual quality and smooth scrolling mentioned in the text. The anticipation is high for this major RPG title from Sega. This page kicks off the new release scramble, providing a quick look at upcoming titles. The main feature is Sega's original simulation game for the Mega Drive, Sangokushi Reto Tairetsu, which translates roughly to Sangokushi, Heroes of Chaos. This isn't a port, but a brand new historical simulation set during China's tumultuous Three Kingdoms period. The article highlights it as a masterpiece of the genre, featuring multiple scenarios starting in key historical years. It boasts a vast map, a user-friendly windowed interface for commands, and difficulty settings catering to all players. Screenshots show the detailed map, a character portrait overlaid on the action, and the title screen. Famous figures from the era are introduced with pixel portraits, including iconic leaders and strategists like Liu Bei, Cao Cao, Zhuge Liang, Sun Quan, Guan Yu, and Zhang Fei. Other games mentioned in the scramble list include popular titles such as Shadow Dancer, the strategic war song, Langrisser in Japan, the shooter Twin Cobra, Kukyoku Tiger, and the driving simulator Hard Drivin'. The preview for Sangokushi Reto Tairetsu promises a deep strategy experience, with more details to follow in the next issue. This page continues the new release scramble, focusing on another simulation game from Sega, Bahamut Senki. This title plunges players into the continent of Bahamut, a land ruled by sword and magic, with the ultimate goal of restoring peace. The game features 4 distinct scenarios and supports up to 4 players. Players select one of 8 unique characters, comprising 7 individuals and 1 beast, each with their own personality and role in the story. The game offers a unique and detailed battle system, allowing players to choose their preferred view and control. Tactical battles can be fought in hex mode or a simpler mode, while direct combat can be real-time or automated. Screenshots showcase the title screen with a flying dragon, the strategic map view, various battle screen modes, and character portraits, including the heroes and villains involved in the conflict. The story summary details the rise of powerful villains, like the demon Balmar and the great dragon Belflame, along with the resurrection of the ancient demon king Crimto, setting the stage for the heroes, like the holy warrior Zeke and the wizard Shelfa, to fight back against the encroaching darkness. This page continues the new release scramble, featuring upcoming Sega Mega Drive titles. First up is Shadow Dancer, the second ninja game for the console, following the highly successful Super Shinobi. While the core gameplay and character abilities, including the return of the loyal ninja dog, are based on the arcade version, The Mega Drive release boasts unique stage designs and overall presentation, aiming to provide a fresh experience even for those familiar with the original. The article questions if it can surpass or stand alongside its legendary predecessor. Next, we see Magical Hat's Turbo Adventure. Woo! Described as a comical yet challenging hyper-action game based on the popular TV anime. Players control Magical Hat, who can achieve mid-air flight by rapidly pressing the jump button. The game features a variety of items and spans 7 stages with diverse environments. Screenshots showcase the vibrant title screen, the item management interface, and the platforming action. Finally, the page announces a new TV show called Tune-Up Boys Team, airing Fridays on TV Tokyo. This program serves as a hub for cutting-edge information aimed at boys in the 90s, prominently featuring news and updates on Mega Drive and Game Gear titles. The article includes a photo of the hosts filming a segment featuring the Game Gear. This page dives into Technosoft's latest offering, Elemental Master. Known for their legendary Thunder Force series, Technosoft shifts gears with this vertical scrolling shooter set in a fantasy world, quite a departure from their usual sci-fi themes. The game features 7 stages, with the first 4 uniquely available for players to tackle in any order they choose, before progressing to the final 3. It retains Technosoft's signature high difficulty, requiring precision and skill comparable to completing a Thunder Force game on hard difficulty. Elemental Master introduces a distinct attack system, allowing players to fire both forwards and backwards, a crucial mechanic for navigating the onslaught of enemies appearing from all directions. A key gameplay element is the magic system. Players gain a new magical ability after clearing each stage, eventually mastering 5 distinct types. These magical attacks can be charged for devastating superversions, ensuring the protagonist, Ladin, powers up significantly throughout the adventure. Unlike previous Technosoft shooters, this title employs a life system rather than spare ships, with life recovery tied to stage clears and specific items found in treasure chests. While items offer benefits like shields and life increases, they don't directly augment the main weapon power. The game also includes a fairy helper named Nisa Lay, though the article suggests her assistance is minimal and perhaps not a major draw. Screenshots showcase the stage select, item pickups, various magic attacks, and challenging boss encounters, highlighting the game's vibrant visuals and intense action. This page previews 2 upcoming titles for the Mega Drive from Messiah. First up is Januga, a shooting game slated for a January release. Previously teased, this update showcases more of its unique, visceral fantasy world, departing from typical sci-fi shooters. The gameplay features 2 types of power-ups, including scatter shots and direct power increases, alongside magic attacks gained from items. The atmosphere is highlighted as eerie and captivating, with screenshots showing disturbing organic-like environments. The story delves into a world where scientific progress clashes with malevolent spirits, leading to a battle against possessed humans and monsters. Following that is Langrisser, an SLG or tactical RPG, expected in the spring. This title incorporates strong RPG elements, allowing players to level up characters through experience and utilize a job change system. The game unfolds across 20 continuous scenarios, promising a deep story experience that feels close to playing a standard RPG. Set in a fantasy world, it's designed to be accessible even for those without extensive historical or military knowledge, featuring strategic map movement, diverse units, and battle animations. Screenshots reveal the tactical map grid and combat sequences. This page features previews for 2 upcoming shooting games for the Mega Drive. First is Ultimate Tiger, a classic vertical shooter from Toplan being ported to the Mega Drive. The article notes that most players are likely familiar with this title, which has seen ports on PC Engine and Famicom. The Mega Drive version is highlighted as a complete port of the arcade game, unlike the PC Engine version, which had changes. The power-up system and 8 difficulty levels are mentioned as key features carried over from the arcade. Screenshots showcase the vertical scrolling gameplay, large tanks, and explosive bomb attacks. It discusses the bosses for the first 3 stages, noting their difficulty and tactics. Next is Veritex, a new vertical scrolling shooter from Asmik. Following Cutie Suzuki's Ringside Angel, this marks Asmik's return to the genre on the Mega Drive. The game is praised for its use of multi-layer scrolling, creating a sense of depth in the backgrounds. Large enemy characters and impressive graphics are also highlighted. The article suggests the difficulty might be set high, targeting experienced players. Screenshots show detailed backgrounds and large enemy sprites in outer space environments. This page features previews for 2 distinct titles hitting the Mega Drive. First up is Caesar's Ambition, a simulation game from Micronet set in ancient Rome. Unlike typical turn-based strategy titles, this game utilizes a real-time system where all units move simultaneously. Players instruct their units' movements, and combat commences upon encountering the enemy. The game features an overarching story told through anime-style opening sequences for each of the 4 stages, leading Caesar from Crete to Alexandria in pursuit of Cleopatra. Screenshots display the hex-based map gameplay, a map of Crete, a port scene, and a detailed combat screen showing Roman legionaries engaged in battle. Below that is the arcade classic Hard drive-in from Tengen. This is a highly anticipated port of the 3D polygon racing simulation. The game challenges players to complete courses within a time limit to qualify for a championship race, which is uniquely contested against your own best previous record rather than AI opponents. The port is noted for its faithful recreation of the arcade's 3D graphics and realistic feel. Screenshots showcase the iconic dashboard view with gauges and the polygonal track environments, highlighting the game's visual style and its replay feature. This page introduces the puzzle game, Mega Panel, described as a sweet yet dangerous original puzzle from Namco, the 4th in a recent series of releases. The gameplay involves moving blocks within a 4x4 grid, similar to a 15 puzzle, to line up 3 or more of the same kind to clear them. The reviewer finds it to be a very strange game that is easy to get hooked on. The game features 3 modes. 1P Exercise, a training mode with 30 rounds each having specific clear conditions. 1P Pinup, where clearing blocks drops bombs that reveal a hidden image. And 2P Versus, a competitive mode where players send junk blocks to their opponent by making matches. The game is praised for its vibrant visuals, numerous characters, and exotic music. A small section at the bottom highlights a character pinup collection associated with the game. The Mega Hot Menu Part 1 showcases the highly anticipated port of Darius 2 from Taito. The article praises the game's fidelity to the arcade experience, effectively adapting the original's multi-screen setup. While some visual compromises exist, such as reduced enemy count and boss size, the core gameplay, enemy patterns, and overall feel are meticulously recreated, reflecting the significant cartridge space used. The BGM is nearly perfect. Notable differences include a screen flash replacing the mushroom cloud effect, a missing voice clip, and the absence of 2-player simultaneous play, though players can still choose between the Silverhawk and Tiet Young. The article provides a brief story introduction and screenshots of the game's opening. This page delves into the extensive power-up system of Darius 2, titled Deeper Power-Up. Items appear after eliminating specific enemy formations called Skiadam, and their appearance order is fixed, encouraging strategic collection. The page details the progression of the 3 main weapons, missile, bomb, and laser, each with multiple upgrade levels shown through screenshots. The missile starts as a simple forward shot and evolves through 8 stages, adding diagonal fire, wider coverage, and eventually transforming into powerful, wide-area spheres. The bomb drops diagonally and progresses through stages that add speed, terrain following, and eventually vertical shots. The laser begins with vertical shots and upgrades through 6 stages, becoming a powerful X-shaped attack, and finally firing straight lines in all 4 cardinal directions, described as the ultimate state. Also detailed are the arm power-ups, which attach to your ship, the Silverhawk. Taking a blue item grants an arm with 3 durability. Collecting 4 blue items upgrades the arm from green to silver, then 4 more to gold. The green arm blocks enemy shots and terrain hits, though terrain hits consume durability. The silver arm gains +2 durability when hit, and the gold arm is immune to terrain hits. The page also shows the 1-up item, granting an extra life, and the rare rainbow item, which can appear late in the game after losing a life, and instantly boosts all your weapons by several stages. This page dives deep into the gameplay mechanics of Darius 2 on the Mega Drive. It begins by highlighting the game's mastery of line scrolling, a technique Darius 2 is credited with popularizing in video games, noting how the Mega Drive version faithfully captures the arcade experience. The game structure is detailed, showing the path from the Sun in Zone A through various planets and moons to Jupiter, illustrating the branching zone select screen that appears after clearing each stage. It emphasizes how each zone offers distinct backgrounds, enemy layouts, and difficulty levels. A crucial item, the nuclear bomb, is introduced. These bombs are scattered throughout stages, and hitting one when its top opens triggers a screen-clearing flash, eliminating all enemies, which is incredibly useful. The page then focuses on the game's mid-bosses, stating there are 6 types. Some are returning foes from the original Darius, while others, like the electric fan, replace arcade counterparts such as the octopus, specifically in this video game version. The write-ups provide brief insights into each mid-boss's appearance and attack patterns, such as the Fire King Fossil's 5-way shot, or the Cuttlefish's combination of lasers, multi-directional shots, and fireballs. These varied enemy encounters, combined with the extensive power-up system previously discussed, provide the challenging and dynamic gameplay Darius 2 is known for. This page highlights the diverse array of small fry enemies you'll encounter in Darius 2. As the title suggests, while they might be small, they are definitely not to be underestimated. The magazine points out that while you won't have much time to admire them during the intense gameplay, their detailed designs are quite interesting. Featured enemies include the Mikatateka, which arrives in formation and leaves troublesome homing missiles, and the Thunder, a ship that unexpectedly splits into 5. You'll also see the air bikes, noted for their pitiful riders, and the Unagi, whose segment body must be destroyed piece by piece. The Fenadeka warps and spitting scattered shots, while the Cobra attempts to overwhelm you by surrounding your ship. Other foes include the ship Hermit Crab, Funyadokari, with its peculiar movement, the Zoidbig, whose shots are hard to dodge despite not being aimed directly, and the Satellite, Ize, a highly durable enemy that acts as a nuisance without attacking. The Wakaseba also possesses high durability and no attack, primarily serving to obstruct. Finally, the Slydeka is a fast, aggressive enemy appearing in later stages, and the Utoka poses a significant threat by firing a powerful laser from directly above, often requiring power-ups to overcome. The sheer variety and unique behaviors of these smaller enemies add significant challenge and character to the game. This page highlights several stage bosses from Darius 2, emphasizing their deep-sea themes. Notable bosses include the lionfish-inspired Hypersting, vulnerable after destroying its bombs, and Alloy Ranton, an anglerfish-like creature best attacked in the head. Driosam, a sea snake-esque boss, launches manageable homing missiles. Steelspin, a blowfish, is vulnerable after its protective eggs are destroyed. The best strategy is to get behind it. The Red Crab, larger than in the arcade, can pull the player's ship and become stronger when its legs are attacked. Finally, the Yamato, a warship that transforms into a hermit crab, mirrors the arcade version's impressive sequence. The page offers brief strategies and comments on the boss's visual design and movement, showcasing the game's creative boss variety. This page continues our deep dive into the memorable boss encounters of Darius 2. The opening text notes that while these bosses are a joy to behold, their intense attacks mean you can't just sit back and watch. The movements generally follow the arcade version, but there are some differences worth noting for each character. We see the Grand Octopus, a fixed-position foe in the Mega Drive version that's considered an easy fight, notable for its Gigeresque background and independent leg movements. Next is Redane, a spiky sea urchin type that's tricky initially. You must destroy its legs quickly to avoid damage. Little Stripe, despite being one of the final bosses, is described as the weakest, primarily attacking with a wide wave bullet, though its detailed fin movements are lost on you in the heat of battle. Mother Hawk resembles a giant player ship, a final boss that throws a boomerang-like body part and shoots rolling bullets. Iostrong is a physiologically unsettling organic boss that begins as small floating balls, one of which suddenly grows into the vulnerable core, making it hard to pinpoint the target initially. Finally, Neonogia, a powered-up version of the arcade's killer Higia, appears as a mechanical fish skeleton that combines and splits, attacking with mouth lasers and durable flying bones, often forcing you to rely solely on dodging. This page dives into the fantastic variety of backgrounds found in Darius 2, showing how each distinct zone creates its own unique atmosphere. The developers didn't just rely on cool bosses. The environments themselves are key to the game's feel. We get a look at several different zones. There's the fiery sun zone, with its dangerous erupting magma, the vast, lonely space zone, and the surprisingly refreshing sea zone with its bright sky. Though the reviewer notes it's still a challenging area. The icy North Pole is the complete opposite of the sun, presenting frozen landscapes and laser obstacles. Next, the lunar ruins feature sudden, indestructible needle-like structures, while the lunar cave brings back nostalgic enemy types from the original Darius. The Martian cave has a distinctly Gigeresque, organic look, and the Venus cave features blocky terrain that even blocks your missiles, forcing tactical adjustments. The page also highlights the memorable clear demo sequence that plays between zones, showcasing the ship's flight and the classic "to be continued," which adds a layer of production polish to the arcade-to-home conversion. The backgrounds are clearly a major visual strength of the game, adding depth beyond just the enemies and bosses. This page features Rainbow Island's extra version for the Sega Mega Drive, a port of the classic arcade game. The core gameplay revolves around the protagonist's ability to shoot rainbows. These aren't just for offense. They also create temporary platforms to navigate the vertical levels, and are essential for revealing hidden items. The guide notes a technique where you can shoot a rainbow and then body attack it to break it, clearing enemies in a wider area. Items play a significant role in enhancing gameplay, offering benefits like increased speed, extending rainbow range, enabling rapid rainbow fire, and providing screen-clearing star attacks. Crucially, collecting all 7 colors of diamonds is highlighted as key to unlocking something special. The early stages, referred to as Darius World, rounds 14, are described as having lower difficulty with fewer enemies and less aggressive attacks. However, a critical point is that you must strategically defeat enemies to collect all 7 types of diamonds, as the color dropped depends on where the enemy is defeated. The guide emphasizes securing platforms, especially in sparse areas, by observing enemy movement and planning your approach. A handy feature for the Mega Drive version is the ability to customize button configurations for jumping and shooting, allowing players to tailor the controls to their preference. Screenshots show the colorful vertical levels of Darius World and illustrate platforming using rainbows. The next page continues the guide for Rainbow Islands Extra, focusing on later challenges. Strategies for specific bosses are detailed. The electric fan boss has a safe spot at the bottom, allowing attacks by moving left and right while dodging slow projectiles. A key point is managing rainbow usage to avoid getting trapped. The Super Devil boss throws spear-like projectiles. The guide advises against getting too close and suggests using platforms to attack by breaking rainbows from above, stressing caution when descending. The guide then covers the magical island stages, rounds 5 through 8. These stages are noted as having similar difficulty to the previous ones, but feature more vertical areas requiring extensive use of rainbows for climbing. Players are warned against rushing, especially after obtaining power-ups, to avoid unexpectedly encountering enemies. A specific challenging enemy, the bomb guys, is highlighted. These enemies jump and throw bombs. The guide advises patience to find attack openings and suggests using rainbows from the side. The page also includes screenshots illustrating the boss fights and the vertical layouts of the magical island levels. A small tip is given about increasing stock lives if struggling. This page continues the guide for Rainbow Islands Extra, moving on to the challenging Dragon Island stages, rounds 9 through 12. The text highlights a significant increase in difficulty starting from this world. Players will encounter enemies that shoot projectiles, and challenging foes like ghosts and slimes now appear in groups, making encounters tougher if approached carelessly. Specific problematic enemies, the Iron Mask and the Dragon, are discussed. The Iron Mask shoots only horizontally, making it easier to evade with rainbows or jumps. However, the Dragon is more dangerous as it targets the player directly with its shots. The guide warns players to be particularly cautious when facing these two together. The section on the Super Dragon, the boss of this world, details how it moves around the screen and breathes fire. A key strategy suggested is to stay at the bottom of the screen to avoid the fire and use the platforms to launch attacks. Important tactical points include avoiding being cornered by the boss and ensuring the player is not directly in the path of its fiery breath. Screenshots illustrate the vertical layouts of rounds 9 through 12. The guide notes that the difficulty becomes quite high around this point, suggesting players who are struggling can enjoy the game on the easy rank, while mentioning a mania rank is available for those who find normal too simple. This page continues the comprehensive guide for Rainbow Islands Extra, focusing on the challenging Dew Island, which comprises rounds 13 through 16. Dew Island introduces enemies designed like elements or atomic structures, featuring 2 distinct attack patterns. Some charge directly at you, while others move predictably. While standard areas are manageable, the absence of platforms in certain sections makes progression difficult, requiring players to rely solely on climbing rainbows, which can be risky due to enemy placement and the potential to break rainbows and fall. The guide then moves to the boss of this world, the familiar Doe, from the classic game Arkanoid. Doe maintains a fixed height, moving horizontally and firing homing-like bullets. The recommended strategy involves attacking from the second level of the platforms on either side. It is crucial to limit your attacks to around 3 hits before quickly moving to the opposite side. Overstaying your welcome significantly increases the likelihood of being hit by those bullets. Repeating this left-to-right movement and limited attack pattern is key to victory. The page includes screenshots illustrating the level layouts for rounds 13-16 and the DO boss battle. Finally, it mentions the game includes an original mode, which offers a simpler experience for those finding the extra version too hard, noting that boss appearances and locations differ in this mode, and some bosses are even absent. This page continues the guide for Rainbow Islands Extra, covering rounds 17 through 28 across 3 distinct islands. First is Insect Island, rounds 17-20, a world filled with various insects. Enemies appear in large numbers and employ tricky attacks, requiring quick reflexes. The boss, Super Kumonger, drops disruptive spiderwebs. Watch out for fast spiders and tough birds. Next is Monster Island, rounds 21-24. where cute Dracula enemies attack by surrounding and ambushing you. The boss, Super Dracula, flies bats in all directions, but these can be destroyed. Attacking when he lands at the bottom is the key. Finally, Toy Island, rounds 2-5-2-8, ramps up the intensity, demanding advanced rainbow techniques like timed bridging and mid-air direction changes. The boss, Super Piron, is especially challenging, throwing reflective copies of itself across the screen, forcing you to attack and dodge simultaneously. The levels are quite vibrant, and the enemies can be tricky. This page dives into the Sega Mega Drive version of Atomic RoboKid, a near-future themed shooting game starring a cute but powerful robot. The review covers important aspects of the game, noting its 33 stages branching from 25 rounds, a substantial amount for the platform. It praises the detailed graphics that create a strong futuristic atmosphere, and the arcade-quality character animation. The difficulty can be adjusted, and enemies are highlighted for their clever movements. The page also details the various power-ups and weapons available, such as the atomic power gun, missile, and 3-way/5-way beams, explaining how they are obtained and their strategic uses. Screenshots show the options menu and gameplay. This page serves as a strategy guide for Atomic RoboKid, breaking down the early stages. It describes Act 1 as relatively easy, serving as a good opportunity to experiment with power-ups and timing. A notable point is that enemies defeated will revive if you backtrack, and a particularly tough large enemy should be quickly destroyed with piercing shots. The focus in Act 1 should be securing power-ups for the next stage. Act 2 is highlighted as significantly more difficult, filled with numerous turrets, emphasizing the necessity of equipping the 3-way and missile weapons to handle enemies above and below. The guide suggests finding safe spots behind pillars to avoid turret fire and using 3-way diagonal shots to clear paths. Missiles are recommended for destroying enemies directly ahead and neutralizing their shots. Like Act 1, defeated enemies revive if you backtrack. The page also details navigating difficult turret clusters, recommending a switch to 3-way immediately at the start of the stage, and using missiles to clear the area. A resilient mid-boss with high defense is mentioned, requiring a strategy of finding cover and persistent fire. Act 3 is noted to have branching paths. The guide stresses that having at least the 3-way and missile is essential for overcoming Act 2's challenges. This guide details strategies for the later stages of Atomic RoboKid. Act 3 branches into 2 paths: an easier sea-themed upper route with more crystals, and a harder jungle-themed lower route. Both have similar enemy strength. Following Act 3 is a boss fight against an agile machine. Destroy its rear turrets first and avoid its tentacles. Act 4 is a one-on-one duel against a mirroring enemy. Victory requires a single hit, making vertical movement crucial to evade attacks and force the opponent to the screen's edges. Act 5 is a vertical scrolling stage similar to Act 2. While most enemies are manageable, be careful when moving between floors. A resilient mid-boss guards the next area. Consider bypassing it due to its difficulty. This page continues the Atomic RoboKid guide, covering later stages. Act 6 offers 2 distinct routes based on your exit from Act 5. The upper path leads to a challenging mid-boss resembling a rocket embedded in the floor and ceiling, known for rapidly firing white orbs. Defeating this enemy is mandatory to progress, so the guide recommends the lower path if you're not confident. Act 7 is a difficult stage centered around turrets embedded in the environment, similar to Act 2 but with narrower passages. Early in this stage, a friendly robot acts as a shop, where you can exchange extra lives for helpful items. The three-way shot and missile are highlighted as essential weapons for this area. There's also a note about hidden crystals to collect. Following Act 7 is the second boss stage, featuring a formidable, durable enemy. The boss is a giant robotic hand whose weak point is a blue eye in its palm. Expect a lengthy battle, as it requires significant damage to destroy. Its main attack is shooting bullets, which you'll need to dodge while focusing fire on the weak point. Finally, Act 8 is a one-on-one duel, reminiscent of Act 4, but the opponent is significantly faster. Success hinges on staying calm, evading attacks, and seizing the right moment for a decisive hit. The next page continues the guide for Atomic RoboKid. This page covers Acts 9, 10, and 11. Act 9 is described as having a massive map, unlike anything seen before, made up of horizontal and vertical passages with many curves. Dangerous spots are often in corners where numerous enemies wait. To tackle these, the three-way shot or missile are essential, with the best approach being the three-way combined with the rapid-fire item to clear groups quickly. The stage features flying enemies like the Kitsui and Harrow. The exit is notable for having 2 points located quite far apart. Act 10 presents a choice of 2 stages after clearing Act 9. Both have similar structures, but the left path features a mid-boss at the end resembling the missile-like enemy from Act 5, requiring caution. The guide suggests the right path is safer. Screenshots show the segmented, connected enemy and a bouncing enemy. Act 11 is immediately challenging, as enemies surround you from the start. The initial moments are crucial for survival. The map has 3 vertical shafts and uneven walls, offering many hiding spots. The piercing shot or three-way are highly recommended for offense. The exit is also heavily guarded, making entry difficult. The strategy is to find a brief opening and rush in, clearing surrounding enemies first for a safer approach. The circled enemy, called Goro Goro, is highlighted as part of this strategy. This page introduces the Sega Mega Drive port of Star Cruiser, originally a popular Famicom 3D shooter and adventure game from 1988. Messiah brought this title over, featuring impressive full 3D displays and graphics created with 3D calculations, giving a strong sense of space that reminds you of flight simulators. The game is described as a space opera, putting you in the role of a class hunter Brian Wright in the 25th century, dealing with political intrigue and an alien threat known as Void. The Mega Drive version is a complete port, but adds a new story segment. Controls are intuitive, using the directional pad for movement, with a handy slide mechanic enabled by holding the A button. Combat features 2 main weapons: homing missiles effective against slower, tougher ground enemies, and fast lasers ideal for taking down quick targets in space. You need to switch weapons based on the situation. Screenshots showcase the gameplay modes, including targeting with missiles, firing lasers in space, and the ground mode interface, where you manage inventory, shields, status, and can save your progress across 5 slots. Key commands like open for doors, shield for repairs, inventory for managing gear, move for interacting with objects, and status for checking your ship are also detailed. It's a comprehensive package, promising a deep space adventure. Star Cruiser features a spaceflight mode, with an interface mirroring the ground mode, including options for shield, autoflight, warp, status, inventory, and save. Autoflight uses beacons for travel, and warp requires a warp engine for long distances, also needing beacons. The inventory accesses the star system map. The game's story begins with the protagonist training, and then meeting Gibson to plan a mission: stealing Void's new star cruiser from a fortress. However, Void attacks Ganymede base. The protagonist's ship is destroyed, forcing them to proceed with the original mission to escape the hostile environment. Screenshots show dialogue and visuals of space combat and the base's destruction. This page continues the story of Star Cruiser, detailing the protagonist's efforts after acquiring the ship. Mission 2 focuses on repairing the Star Cruiser. The ship is damaged and needs significant modification, so the protagonist rescues the ship's developers, including Daigo Sakai, who helps with the repairs. To complete the modifications, the protagonist must travel to the planet Venus to acquire necessary materials from a Void factory, facing strong resistance and realizing the material acquisition is a trap set by Void. Screenshots show dialogue with Daigo, the protagonist, Freddy, and combat scenes on Venus. Mission 3 shifts focus to rescuing Gibson. After the Star Cruiser is repaired, Gibson contacts the protagonist from an Earth information center, but is suddenly attacked while analyzing void data. The protagonist must travel to Earth to help Gibson, but needs a special beacon to land. The narrative also mentions an abandoned asteroid colony, described as a challenging ghost town, potentially a location visited during this mission. Screenshots depict returning to Daigo, and the dialogue regarding Gibson's distress, as well as a scene seemingly set in the asteroid colony. The missions showcase the game's progression through story points, character interactions, and diverse locations. The story of Star Cruiser continues with thrilling missions. In Mission 3, the protagonist searches for Gibson on Earth, encountering obstacles and mysteries. They team up with Yuko, Daigo's daughter, to infiltrate a closed information center, finding Gibson seemingly transformed into data. Seeking answers, the protagonist consults Daigo. Screenshots illustrate key moments like dialogue and locations. Mission 4, Preventing Terror, begins with the protagonist giving Gibson's data to Daigo and traveling to Venus. There, they learn of a void attack planned during a hunter's gathering. After a terrorist attack at the spaceport, the protagonist is wrongly arrested but tasked by Domofusuki to stop Void. They locate and raid Void's secret base, recovering valuable data. The narrative features unexpected twists and evolving challenges. Quote, "This page features a fascinating roundtable discussion between game developers and magazine editors, titled Maker Magazine Company Roundtable Discussion, Sega Genesis vs. Super Nintendo." The article highlights the state of the Sega Genesis, noting its growing software library and the upcoming Mega CD add-on expected next year. However, the imminent release of the Super Nintendo, November 21st, is clearly a major concern and topic of conversation. The discussion acts as an emergency session to address the impact of the Super Nintendo's launch on the gaming industry and what the post-Super Nintendo era will look like. The page is illustrated with images of both the Sega Genesis and Super Nintendo consoles, controllers, and an SNES cartridge, visually representing the console war being discussed. Participants include key figures from companies like Wolf Team and Game Arts, alongside editors from publications like Game TV and Famitsu. This page continues the discussion about the impending launch of the Super Nintendo, featuring interviews with Wolf Team's Masahiko Uno and Kenji Goto. Mr. Uno shares his thoughts on the hardware, acknowledging its quality, but expresses a feeling of unease about the launch, comparing the need to quickly develop for the new system to the early days of the original Famicom. He notes that, from a user perspective, the initial Super Nintendo software lineup, while featuring titles like Super Mario World and Pilot Wings, doesn't offer many must-have games that he personally feels compelled to buy. He specifically mentions ports like Gradius 2 is feeling somewhat uninteresting on the new platform, and brings up the prevalence of ports in the SNES launch lineup, drawing a parallel to the Sega Genesis launch titles like Super Thunderblade, Altered Beast, and Space Harrier 2, which were also often arcade ports. The conversation also touches on the changing landscape of game development, the importance of producers, and the increasing significance of technology like SideROM as game sizes grow. This page features a roundtable discussion between Yuichi Miyagi and Tetsuya Kusaka from Game Arts, and Koji Watanabe, the editor-in-chief of Game TV. They continue the conversation about the state of the industry, focusing on the contrasting software lineups and target audiences of the Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis. The speakers observe that the Super Nintendo's initial software seems to be targeting an older demographic, perhaps those who have graduated from the original Famicom. They note the presence of complex games like SimCity and Populous in the lineup, suggesting the system's software feels somewhat niche or otaku-ish, requiring significant effort to get into. In contrast, they see the Genesis heading in a different direction with a distinct user base, including people who frequent arcades. While acknowledging the strength of arcade ports like Turbo Outrun, Power Drift, and Galaxy Force, they question why these haven't been released sooner. The Genesis software is also seen as evolving, with titles like Columns making the platform more accessible, even appealing to girls. Overall, they conclude that the two consoles are attracting different users and heading in separate directions, with the Genesis software being more rooted in arcade experiences, and its hardware being well suited for creating original games. Alicia Dragoon is also mentioned as being in development at Game Arts. This page continues the discussion, featuring editors from Famicom Tsushin and Famicom Hishuban. They delve into the design philosophies of the consoles, finding the Super Famicom's look rather cold and unappealing to children, contrasting it with the original Famicom's toy-like charm, which hid a powerful machine. They suggest the Genesis's design, while perhaps dorky to some, might feel more approachable, and praise Sony's My First series for its use of color. The conversation then shifts to software pricing. They feel Super Famicom software is expensive, starting around 5,000 to 6,000 yen, noting that even complex RPGs or simulations might justify a 6,000 yen price, but action games should be closer to 5,000 yen. They point out that Genesis games like Strider launched at 7,000 yen, which is quite high, but Genesis prices are generally considered lower. They discuss the balance of supply and demand in pricing. Looking to the future, they anticipate peripherals like CD-ROM drives for both systems. They believe the Super Famicom and Genesis will continue on different paths, attracting distinct users and offering different types of software, which is a good thing. They reference Nintendo's president's view that the machines are fundamentally different. Ultimately, they conclude that developers should make the best games they can for the platform they prefer, as making great software is the most important thing, regardless of the hardware differences. This page features the 7th installment of the new Machine Development Workshop, presenting the Fieldbook FB001. This concept is envisioned as a portable electronic device designed for outdoor observation, moving beyond just playing games on computers. The author suggests using technology not just for entertainment, but as a tool for learning and exploring the real world. The Fieldbook FB001 is described as a notebook-style computer, lightweight at around 1 kilogram, featuring a monochrome LCD screen, a handle, and a built-in solar panel for charging. It includes a scanner and camera unit, allowing users to capture images and record sounds during their observations. Data can be stored on IC cards or a single CD-ROM drive, enabling access to large databases like digital picture books. The device supports wireless pen input and includes networking capabilities. The idea is for children to take the FB001 on field trips to document nature, take photos, record findings, and compile their research upon returning. The author hopes to make this device a reality, aiming for a mass-produced price under 100,000 yen, urging parents to consider it an investment in their children's education rather than buying expensive luxury items. It's a fascinating look at potential educational tech from this era. The TV game market frontline explores the Mega Drive versus Super Famicom war, forecasting the TV game market after the Super Famicom launch. The article, penned by Jam Ojisan, analyzes the impact of Nintendo's ambitious Super Famicom targets and the strategies of software developers like Konami and Capcom, who are exploring alternatives like PC Engine and Mega Drive. The piece highlights the evolving 16-bit market, emphasizing falling console prices and increased consumer purchasing power. The Mega Drive, with its affordable price point, could gain traction, especially if it offers exclusive software. The article notes the software trends, Super Famicom's reliance on sequels and ports, and Mega Drive's similar dependence on arcade percent ports. The author suggests that in this new market dynamic, where hardware isn't significantly more expensive than software, the competitive landscape is drastically altered. This page delves deeper into the evolving market following the Super Famicom launch, comparing it with the Mega Drive. It presents data on software genre distribution for both consoles, showing how action games dominate the Super Famicom library, while the Mega Drive leans heavily into action and shooting titles, but notes the Super Famicom has a stronger advantage in RPGs, with key developers like Enix and Square supporting it, while the Mega Drive holds its own in shooting and simulation genres with notable companies. The analysis highlights the Super Famicom's strengths, such as having sequels to hugely popular games like The Legend of Zelda and Super Mario Bros., providing comfort and familiarity to users. It also benefits from many third parties developing exclusive software. However, its reliance on ports and high software prices, sometimes exceeding 8,000 yen, are seen as potential weaknesses that could deter existing users. The article suggests the Mega Drive, having successfully utilized its hardware and potentially appealing more to an older audience, will compete fiercely. Ultimately, the piece concludes that the Super Famicom's initial success out of the gate, its start dash, will be crucial in determining its market share, promising further discussion on strategic software approaches in the next issue. This page transitions to discussing PC communication, presented as a highly convenient tool. The article, part of a game writer's diary, explains how it works by connecting a home computer via a phone line to a host system, enabling users to exchange messages, access databases, and connect with like-minded individuals. It highlights the ability to send and receive mail, and even use it for exchanging drafts of work. The piece notes that various useful PSC tools and software, including public domain software and shareware, can be obtained through this communication. Getting started is described as straightforward, requiring just a PC, a modem, and a phone line, and the article mentions the increasing prevalence of communication-capable notebook PCs. The author encourages readers to try it out, perhaps using a family member's computer like an NEC PC-98 or Sharp X68000 series machine, to experience its benefits firsthand. The page is adorned with several charming, whimsical cartoon illustrations. This page features the column Emperor of Mania by artist and musician Kizoku Ikeda. With this installment, Volume 7, focusing on dinosaurs, Ikeda shares his personal fascination with these prehistoric creatures, explaining his particular fondness for the pachycephalosaur relative, Homalocephale, which he even draws himself. He describes it in detail and explains why it's his favorite. He also touches upon other dinosaurs like the Tyrannosaurus rex, discussing perceived differences in strength and physical characteristics compared to others like Allosaurus. Ikeda recalls changing the pronunciation of Saurus as a child and muses on dinosaur colors. In a brief update on his activities, he mentions a song titled Insectman and asks if readers know it, noting he will be taking over hosting the TV show Mega Kids TV. The page concludes by promoting his upcoming recital.
BeepMD Dataland highlights the game industry's trends, boosted by the Game Gear launch. The left side previews top titles. Columns reign supreme with its versus mode. Super Monaco GP is a hit, selling out. Michael Jackson's Moonwalker is popular, especially with female players. Batman climbs the ranks with its graphics. Phelios sees a slight dip. The right side presents August's MegaDrive software sales top 10 chart. Columns remains at number 1. Super Monaco GP and Michael Jackson's Moonwalker debut strongly in the top 3. Batman and Phelios secure top 5 positions. Super Hangin' and SWAT City Under Siege remain in the top 10. The chart demonstrates a blend of established favorites and the immediate success of recent releases.
This page presents ranking data for both arcade and Mega Drive games. The top section, Shop Data, lists the current top 5 arcade video games. Final Lap 2 from Namco holds the number 1 spot. Described as a racing game that has overtaken GL.OC, Sega's GL.OC is second, followed by Taito's Air Inferno, which maintains its third-place position. Sega's Super Monaco GP is fourth, and Raiden from Seibu Denshi/Tecmo rounds out the top 5. The lower section, User Data, reveals the top 20 most popular Mega Drive games based on reader surveys. Thunder Force 2i is the clear favorite at number 1, with high popularity attributed to its completion rate. Afterburner 2 holds steady in second place, maintaining its strong popularity. Phantasy Star 2 is third, with the text questioning if it can climb higher to challenge the top 2. The list continues with fan favorites like the Super Shinobi, Sorcerian, Phantasy Star 2i, Super Monaco GP, Golden Axe, and Ghouls on Ghosts, showcasing a diverse mix of genres popular with Mega Drive players. Columns and Phelios, mentioned on the previous page's sales chart, also appear in the top 20 popularity list. This user data provides insight into the games that truly resonated with the Mega Drive audience at the time, compiled from reader feedback over several months. The next page presents user data rankings, split into 2 categories. On the left, it shows the highly anticipated new games, listing the top 20 titles readers are most looking forward to. The number 1 spot is held by Darius 2, followed by Advanced Great Strategy and Burning Force. The list features a mix of popular series sequels and new titles like Rainbow Islands and Elemental Master. On the right, the page lists the top 20 games that users want to see ported, likely from arcades or other platforms. Final Fight is number 1, a highly popular arcade title at the time. It's followed by The Legend of Valkyrie and the YS series. Other desired ports include Populous, Alien Storm, the Gradius series, and Raiden. This section highlights the games arcade players were eager to bring home to their Mega Drive consoles. At the bottom, there's an article announcing the completion of Namco's original movie project, Kabuki Man, produced in collaboration with Troma Entertainment and other companies. This action film is inspired by Kabuki theater. The story follows a New York detective who gains strange powers after witnessing a massacre at a Kabuki performance, and transforms into the hero Kabuki Man. The article mentions its premiere at the Tokyo International Fantastic Film Festival and planned video release. This page presents a comprehensive list of upcoming Sega Mega Drive software releases. It functions as a schedule, detailing games with confirmed or projected release dates from October onwards, extending into the future with many titles listed as undecided. The table lays out key information for each game, including its release date, Japanese title, many of which are known internationally, genre, act for action, SHT for shoot 'em up, SLG for simulation, RPG for role-playing game, PUZ for puzzle, SPT for sports, tab for table, ARPG for action RPG, BOA for board, ADG for adventure, RAC for racing, UGF for fighting, manufacturer, memory size in megabits, or cartridge size notation like BB, and list price. Notable games appearing on the list include Burn N GeForce, Granada, Shadow Dancer, Darius 2, Hard Drivin', Galahad, Likely, Alien Storm, Zero Wing, and many others. The genre variety is evident, covering everything from action and shooters to RPGs and sports games. Many entries are marked as undecided for release date, memory size, or price, highlighting that this is a preview of titles in various stages of development. This schedule gives a clear picture of the exciting lineup Mega Drive owners had to look forward to. This page features various news items and information. There's an announcement for the MSX Turbo, ASC2's new 16-bit successor to the MSX platform, boasting significant speed improvements with its R800 CPU and featuring a new graphical operating system. An image of the R800 chip and the console logo are shown. Next up is news about the card game Tokyo Crisis, a mystery title where players solve cases. Details on the player count, publisher, hobby, Japan, and price are included alongside evocative artwork. There's also exciting news for portable gaming fans, with the official release date and price confirmed for the PC Engine GT, known internationally as the Turbo Express. This handheld plays existing PC Engine games and features a backlit screen, with the article detailing its size, weight, battery life, and release info from NEC Home Electronics, accompanied by images of the console and game art. Finally, there are items on a handbook for the popular simulation game Populous, covering strategies and game mechanics, published by Shinkigensha. The page also highlights a present campaign for the Game Boy game Monster Maker, an adaptation of the card game series, offering telephone cards featuring the game's characters as prizes. This page features the second installment of the hot-blooded Mega Drive Declaration series. This time, the spotlight is on Taito, referred to here by their nickname, Toreko, marking them as the 20th company to join this declaration. The page features a photo of a Taito representative holding boxing gloves, alongside pixel art graphics of a tank and a helicopter, which are recognizable sprites from their classic shooter games like Twin Cobra. The article highlights Taito's early commitment to the Mega Drive platform, having announced their participation back in February of the previous year, with Atomic Robo Kid as their first planned title. While the release was delayed, they are now set to release software sequentially, including Twin Cobra, known as Kyukyoku Taiga in Japan, from the end of the year into the next. The feature promises an in-depth look at Taito's proactive strategy for the Mega Drive. The page also includes a brief list of the companies that have previously made their declaration in past issues of the magazine, spanning from 1989 to late 1990. This page continues the feature on Taito's, Toreko, commitment to the Mega Drive, presenting an interview with Mr. Akihiro Murayama, planning manager for their amusement business division. He explains Taito joined the Mega Drive platform anticipating its potential for worldwide expansion, and being impressed by the hardware's ability to recreate arcade-like experiences, aligning with their philosophy of no compromise in game making. While acknowledging development hurdles, like color palette limitations, they focus on leveraging the hardware's strengths. Taito is also exploring peripherals, expressing interest in modems contingent on cost feasibility, and the Crydrom for its potential in sound and cost effectiveness, though they are currently observing market adoption. Their initial release, Atomic Robo Kid, was chosen for its suitability to the Mega Drive's power. Planned future titles include Twin Cobra and Vazam, the latter being a completely original action RPG designed to address the lack of RPGs on the system and satisfy user requests for that genre. The page also briefly touches on Taito's history, including their 1989 Mega Drive entry and the planned 1990 releases of Atomic Robo Kid, Twin Cobra, and Vazam. This page continues the interview with Taito's planning manager, Takashi Uga, discussing their plans for the Mega Drive. He emphasizes their policy of striving for faithful arcade ports based on user feedback, while also pursuing original titles. The delay of Atomic Robo Kid was due to their commitment to quality. Taito sees potential in original games, planning action, shooting, RPGs, and simulations based on user demand. They are interested in the Genesis due to its success in the US and have plans for the Game Gear. Comparing hardware, he notes the Super Famicom is appealing, but suggests third-party developers might still be mastering its nuances, implying the Mega Drive's full potential is yet to be seen as developers become more proficient. Taito believes Sega users are the true game fans and wants to make games that resonate with them, actively seeking user feedback. The page details their first 3 releases: Atomic RoboKid, a faithful arcade shooter port with added content; Twin Cobra, Kukyoku Tiger, another shooter port known for its popularity, allowing detailed difficulty settings; and Vazam, an original action RPG likened to Zelda 2, addressing the Mega Drive's lack of RPGs. This page introduces Sega's highly anticipated new RPG, tentatively titled Shining in Darkness, positioning it as a significant release for the Genesis platform. The game is described as a heroic fantasy set in a world with traditional races like humans, elves, and dwarves, but also featuring evil characters like goblins and skeletons. It's highlighted as a first-person dungeon crawler RPG, with the exploration feeling reminiscent of titles like Wizardry, and the dungeon visuals akin to Phantasy Star's first-person segments. Players form a party of around 3 characters to face challenges. The combat system is noted for its dynamic enemy appearances, sometimes from the sides or back, adding a sense of urgency. The magazine emphasizes that this game is a cornerstone of Sega's future RPG strategy, with plans for several more RPGs to follow. Developed by Climax, the game is seen as a major step for Sega's RPG lineup on the Genesis, promising a new direction for the console's library. Screenshots display the grid-based, first-person dungeon perspective and various enemy encounters, including large groups and what appears to be a boss battle. This page features an article titled, "Why Isn't the Appendix Included? The Structure of Publication Distribution." It addresses a common complaint from readers who receive the magazine without the promised bonus item. The editorial department explains that they frequently receive calls and postcards about this issue and clarify that it's a problem stemming from the publication distribution process. The article details the complex journey a magazine takes from the printer to the reader, passing through binders, wholesalers, and bookstores. It highlights potential points along this chain where the appendix, which is sometimes packaged separately from the main magazine, can become detached or lost. These points include the handover from the binder to the wholesaler, sorting at the wholesaler, and finally, the process of the bookstore staff bundling the magazine and appendix together for sale. The magazine advises readers who find their appendix missing to first inquire at the bookstore. If the appendix was lost during the distribution process before reaching the store, there might not be much the store can do, in which case the reader should contact the editorial department. The article expresses the hope that this explanation helps readers understand the behind-the-scenes process and assures them that the editorial team strives to ensure everyone receives the complete package. A cartoon illustration accompanies the article, depicting various figures holding copies of the magazine and seemingly involved in its journey. This page features the 12th volume of the Sound Club column. The main topic, ironically titled, "The Rock Band Boom and Fusion Game Music Are Both Not Interesting," actually delves into seeking out fun and interesting sounds to listen to. The column advocates for sounds that are a bit different from mainstream trends, highlighting examples like hip-hop, utilizing sampling, specifically mentioning music by Denki Groove for its pop sensibility with sampled backing tracks, and Shkadara Par for its rap style incorporating TV themes and social commentary. Below, the Game Music and Game Video New Release Review section covers several releases. It reviews a video titled, "Japanese Traditional Instruments Ensemble Sweet Dragon Quest," noting its creation due to the game's popularity and the unique performance by traditional Japanese instruments, which was re-released due to high demand. An F1 Grand Prix 1990 special video is reviewed, focusing on highlights from the racing season and featuring performances by the game music band SST. The reviews also cover 2 game music creeds, one for Namco's arcade game Finest Hour, which is noted for its somewhat melancholic feel, and BGM designed to complement in-game sound effects, making more sense in the context of the game itself, and another for Toplan's arcade titles Outzone and Snow Bros, highlighting Outzone's metallic FM sound and aggressive bassline and Snow Bros' comical game-driven BGM, noting the arranged versions offer a distinct experience. This page continues the focus on exploring interesting sounds, this time highlighting overseas releases and imports. It suggests checking import shops for unique creeds, mentioning releases like Thunderbirds or Go!/Fab, which cleverly samples the classic show's sounds into house music, and Into the Dragon/Bomb the Bass, which features Japanese DJs and music from the Amiga game Mega Blast. Beyond just music, it points to other humorous audio releases like comedy albums and sound effect collections.
Below, the page reviews several game music creds. The Cameltree and Kadash arcade soundtrack is covered, noting Cameltree's rhythm-heavy puzzle game score and Kadash's more thematic RPG music. 2 volumes of the Techno Soft Game Music Collection are reviewed. Illusion features music from titles like Thunder Force 2 and Twin Cobra, appealing to arcade fans. Excursion focuses on arranged versions of Thunder Force 2 tracks, offering a different take. Finally, the Thunder Force 2's original soundtrack is reviewed, praising the Mega Drive's sound quality for the game's music and the overall quality of the arrangements, including a vocal track. This page features reader feedback under the title, Game, Speak Freely. The top illustration depicts characters in a racing setting. Readers share their thoughts on various games. First, Super Monaco GP is praised for its engaging World Champion mode, the system of winning battles, earning points, and upgrading cars, and its overall speed and design. Another reader also discusses Super Monaco GP, comparing its graphics to the arcade version and finding them acceptable during races, but highlights the automatic shift change as a problem during corners. A third reader who bought Super Monaco GP immediately found it enjoyable, despite initially missing background music during play. Michael Jackson's Moonwalker is also reviewed, described as very interesting. The reader enjoys how Michael's stage actions and dancing are incorporated, making the game enjoyable, especially with the music. They note you can even enjoy the music alone if you get tired of the game. Additional illustrations on the page include an anime character and text mentioning crying characters from a game series and discussing prices for Phantasy Star 2 and 2i. There's also an image related to Assault Suits Lanos and a strong plea from a reader for Sega to release a Mega Drive Crydrom system to compete with the PC Engine Crydrom Squared. This page continues with reader feedback under the title, Things Gamers Want to Say. Readers weigh in on various Mega Drive titles. Comments on Thunder Force 2 I offer mixed views, with one finding fault in its lack of co-op, horizontal scrolling, and simple content compared to the arcade, while another defends the Mega Drive version for being easier and having good visuals and BGM. Crackdown receives high praise as the best shooting game played, noted for detailed backgrounds and powerful upgrades. A look at an early version of Elemental Master is described as difficult but promising due to good graphics and sound. A significant portion of the feedback calls for more RPGs on the Mega Drive, arguing they are accessible to a wider audience and easier to develop than action games, which would boost the system's popularity. There's disappointment that no immediate RPG releases are planned. The topic of CD-ROM is raised, with readers eager for enhanced graphics and sound to compete with systems like the SNES, lamenting the Mega Drive's limited color palette for video games. Sports game fans express a desire for more baseball simulations. Finally, one reader questions the porting of Nestar, Rastan Saga 2, preferring the graphics of the original Rastan. Illustrations on the page feature characters from Crackdown, anime characters discussing Phantasy Star 2's Monsters, and a character related to Phantasy Star 2i. This page continues the reader feedback column, Mega Drive Bin Talk, where fans share their thoughts. Readers discuss various topics, including Phantasy Star 2 being seen as an improvement over 2 in several areas, and a desire for a port of the popular Mahjong series Naki no Ryu, noting the lack of strong Mahjong titles on the Mega Drive compared to other platforms like the PC Engine or Famicom. One reader expresses disappointment that the arcade hit Valkyrie no Densetsu is not available on the system. Anticipation is building for the upcoming Sonic the Hedgehog, with questions about its specific features. Comments also touch on industry news, noting the absence of coverage from certain publications. A humorous anecdote recounts a strange incident while playing Thunder Force 2i involving the enemy Gargoyle. There's also a comment admiring the artwork style used, specifically noting its quality compared to how it was utilized in Phantasy Star 2i. Illustrations include a drawing lamenting the lack of Valkyries on Mega Drive and another related to Phantasy Star 2. The bottom features a large grid spelling out Megadora Game Road, using character illustrations from various games, including notable Sega titles, dated June 17, 1990.
This page includes corrections for the previous issue's content, noting errors such as referring to Darius instead of Darius 2 on the cover, misidentified store names in rankings, an incorrect price for the CD version of Insector X, and slight inaccuracies in text descriptions about the TV game market and a reader group name. The page also lists the numerous winners of the Reader Present campaign from the September issue, featuring prizes like games such as Super Monaco GP, Moonwalker, Rastan Saga 2, XDR, Afterburner, Great Golf, and CyberCity OED 0808, along with music tapes and other promotional items. Readers share their thoughts, including one who comments on the Mega Drive adaptation of Batman, appreciating the improved graphics in the final version compared to earlier builds, but wishing the Batmobile stage had a graphical style more akin to Outrun, though. Another section invites readers to submit illustrations and feedback for various columns, such as general game opinions, messages to the industry, and entries for the Mega Drive Bin Talk column, specifying submission guidelines and the address. Illustrations include a reader's drawing of Batman and another original character drawing labeled Pretty. This page opens with a comic strip, seemingly titled Heisei Wright Brothers, which offers a humorous and critical look at the game industry, expressing frustration with poor game scenarios and designers, and questioning the intelligence of users. The comic uses exaggerated expressions and reactions to convey its satire. Below the comic is a large illustration titled Aim for the Bourgeoisie, showing stylized figures posing on a beach, perhaps a visual interlude, or a thematic element related to aspirations. The lower part of the page is dedicated to a reader advice column. Readers ask questions about career paths, contrasting game design with other fields like drawing or robotics, and seeking guidance on personal issues, even touching on the appeal of games across different age groups, like a 92-year-old relative. The answers provide thoughtful, sometimes amusing, advice, encouraging readers to pursue their passions and find fulfillment in their chosen paths, reflecting the magazine's connection with its community. This page kicks off a new feature titled Even Monkeys Can Make Games Lecture, suggesting a fun, accessible approach to game design, presented by Takeo Iijima and So Kawasaki. The section includes humorous manga panels where characters react to game scenarios and ideas, even referencing parody titles like Dorambata Quest, Fantasy Final, and Hyankyo Grodius. Clearly satirical takes on iconic series such as Dragon Quest, Final Fantasy, and Gradius. Below the lecture introduction is Dr. Iijima's game designer Q&A, continuing the career advice theme from the previous page. Here, Drive. Iijima answers reader questions about getting into the game industry, addressing concerns from students and even those considering a career change from animation, offering encouragement and practical, if sometimes blunt, advice on the path to becoming a game designer. This page features the final chapter of the manga segment titled Just When You Thought It Was Back, this time it's really the final chapter. Megadoran 9X. Created by Hidaka Swimming Club and supervised by Arimi Kikawa, this section delivers a mix of comedic gags and suggestive humor. The manga includes a running joke about a stomach worm causing physical distress to the captain character, and a panel featuring a humorous, suggestive wordplay joke about a four-letter word related to games, referencing a potential parody title, Sekurosu, and eliciting shocked and amused reactions from the characters. There's also a brief parody sequence involving Megadoran 9X itself, which seems to be a humorous take on hero transformation stories, complete with a nod to the beta capsule. The segment wraps up, marking the conclusion of this particular manga and thanking the readers who supported it, dated September 1990. This page is a recruitment advertisement for Kaneko, a Japanese game company, seeking new employees including hires for the following spring. This page is a large mail-order advertisement from Sega, announcing the upcoming launch of the Game Gear handheld console on October 7th at a Santa member price of 17,800 yen, significantly lower than the standard price. It also heavily promotes a reduced price for the Mega Drive console, dropping to a special price of just 11,800 yen. The page details various software titles and accessories available through this Santa Express mail order service. Game Gear software like Columns and Super Monaco GP are listed with release dates and prices, alongside accessories like battery packs and cables. A vast selection of software is offered across different price tiers for Mega Drive, including Master System compatibility via the Mega Adapter, Famicom, and Game Boy. Noteworthy Mega Drive titles highlighted in a special price corner include Thunder Force 2, Ghouls and Ghosts, Michael Jackson's Moonwalker, and Batman. Several hardware peripherals are also featured with special discounted prices, such as the arcade Power Stick, the Mega Adapter to play Master System games, and even the Sega 3D glasses. This appears to be a major promotional push for Sega's hardware lineup, particularly highlighting the new Game Gear and making the Mega Drive more accessible at a heavily reduced price. This page features a major announcement, possibly related to a new model appearance, and is dedicated to the Santa mail order service, promising delivery on release day. Highlighted are upcoming Mega Drive titles, the classic action platformer Ghouls Ring Ghosts, and the unique sports title Battle Golfer Yui, both planned for October release at 4,200 yen. Also featured is Taito's esteemed shooter, Darius 2, with its release date and price still undecided, but confirmed for the system, promising exciting underwater action. Below the highlights is a comprehensive price list for various Mega Drive software titles available through Santa. The list includes a diverse range of genres, from action games like Strider Hiryu and Crackdown, to shooters such as Burning Force and Hellfire, and even sports titles like Telltale Stadium. Prices vary depending on the game, generally ranging from 2,500 yen up to 5,400 yen, with many titles listed for October or November release. Ordering information details how to apply via mail with product details, and notes that prices include consumption tax. Shipping is 800 yen nationwide, with additional costs for certain areas, and a handling fee applies. They clarify that they do not sell used goods. The page also provides contact information for Santa Family Land in Tokyo, and includes a cutout application form for easy ordering. This page features a mail order advertisement from a store called Hop, showcasing a wide variety of systems and games available for purchase in October. The ad covers the Famicom, Game Boy, various PC Engine models, CoreGraphs, SuperGraphs, and Keydrom Squared, Game Gear, Atari Lynx, and the Mega Drive. The listing includes consoles themselves, like the Famicom for 9,550 yen, and the Mega Drive for 11,600 yen, alongside numerous game titles. For the Famicom, titles like Dragon Buster 2 and Square's Tom Sawyer are featured. Game Boy enthusiasts could find Quarth and Sweet Home. The PC Engine section lists titles like Ninja Gaiden and Aero Blasters, although it curiously includes Fire Emblem, Shadow Dragon, and The Blade of Light, which is an SNES title. The Mega Drive selection features Turbo Outrun, Gain Ground, and titles from the Kunio-kun series, along with another notable mislisting, Mega Man 3, which is a Famicom game. The prices for software vary depending on the platform and title. The page also outlines the ordering process, which involves calling to check stock and price, then sending payment via cash or postal transfer, with the product name noted. Goods are typically shipped within 10 days of receiving payment. A simple guide for estimating the total cost, including item price, a handling fee per item, and shipping, is provided. The ad is valid only for the month of October. This page is a special feature diving into the role of working women in the current game industry. The image depicts two hands clasped firmly, suggesting collaboration or a strong challenge, set against a background showing a path under a dramatic sky. The article discusses how the game industry is evolving beyond just game maniacs creating games, with more artists and designers entering the field, and, importantly, a noticeable increase in women. It highlights the idea that women are seen as trendsetters and a crucial target audience for increasing appeal, suggesting their influence might even challenge traditional male dominance. This feature promises to interview women in the industry to explore their experiences, the potential of games for women, and how their involvement is changing things, emphasizing it's a serious project aimed at understanding this shift. This page continues the special feature on women in the game industry, featuring interviews with three graphic designers. Yuki Ikeda and Hisako Takizawa from NCS discuss their work on titles like Langrisser and Soul Bianca, sharing how they adapted to the unique environment of game development and the challenges like long hours. They mention their personal favorites, including Tetris and shooters. Freelance graphic designer Suzuko Shinoda talks about her path from illustration to computer graphics, having worked on ports of games like Ultima 2 and Populous. She expresses her desire to create original work and her passion for RPGs, having recently finished Final Fantasy II Eyes. The interviews highlight their enjoyment of the work despite the difficulties, and collectively encourage women who love games to pursue careers in the industry, suggesting that dedication to a passion makes the inevitable hardships more bearable. Screenshots of games like Langrisser or Soul Bianca and Ultima 2 are included. The next page continues the feature on women working in the game industry, focusing on character designers and a sales promoter. First up are Yuko Takada and Sanae Nito, character designers from Toaplan. They find it interesting and unexpected that women are designing the hard mechs often seen in their games. They discuss the design process, working in teams with programmers, and the challenges of porting games like Fireshark, Truxton, Hellfire, Twin Hawk, and Zero Wing to the Mega Drive, noting the limitations of the palette. They are shown working at development stations, and a screenshot of a Toaplan game is included.
Below them is Kane Maeda, a sales promoter for Irem. She emphasizes that her job selling games is based purely on effort, regardless of gender. Her role involves explaining products to distributors and building sales channels. She mentions working on titles such as Shanghai on Game Boy, Kickle Cubicle, and Kid Nikki, Radical Ninja on Famicom, Legend of the Hero Tunkama, and R-Type 2 on Super Famicom. She finds satisfaction in seeing her efforts directly translate into sales numbers, and enjoys meeting people from different age groups. Photos show her portrait and her working in an office environment surrounded by game boxes. This article profiles two women in the game industry. Kaori Ikeda, a public promoter at ASMIC, manages advertising and promotion. Initially unsure, she now finds the job rewarding, particularly enjoying interacting with young fans. She's worked on games like Super Hydolide and Air Diver. The second profile is Meiko Wada, a character designer at Game Arts. She creates pixel art characters, recently designing enemy sprites. She finds seeing her designs in-game fulfilling and welcomes feedback. She believes the industry is welcoming to women and has worked on titles such as Alicia Dragoon and Famista 90. This page features the Capcom sound creator team under the heading Industry Working Women's Circumstances, highlighting that the team includes women. They mention renewing the team members and their desire to perform live band activities in the coming year. The career history listed includes work on classic Capcom titles such as arcade versions of Street Fighter, UN Squadron, Mercs, Magic Sword, and Dynasty Wars, as well as console hits like Mega Man 3, Final Fight, and Super Ghouls, Pen Ghosts. The article includes quotes from several team members about their work and interests. One member discusses composing game BGM and sound effects, noting their system allows direct output from PC-98, making composition easier even without programming skills. Another talks about initially wanting to be a piano teacher, but found work in the game industry after realizing teaching might not be sustainable. Others mention diverse hobbies like horse racing, mahjong, driving/touring, and window shopping as stress relief. Some express a deep passion for gaming, particularly Famicom titles, and their desire to create music that fits the game's image, emphasizing that simply wanting to make a song isn't enough. It must serve the game. They stress the importance of not having personal likes or dislikes in sound when composing for games. The page also includes photos of the team members and a large group photo of them performing with instruments on a rooftop. This page features Namco's 3D shooter for the Mega Drive, Burning Force, highlighting its release details and introducing the protagonist, Hiromi Tendis. The article frames the game's structure as preparation for a graduation exam where Hiromi trains to become a space fighter. The game simulates 6 days of intense combat training, with each day split into morning, afternoon, and night sections, culminating in a boss fight where her vehicle transforms. Defeating the boss unlocks a bonus stage. This progression repeats for 5 days, leading to a shorter, single area on the final 6th day before the exam. The review praises the game's simple controls and the exhilarating feeling of high-speed scrolling, noting the high quality of the music and graphics. Various power-up items are detailed, including different weapon types like wide-range shots, laser shots, cross lasers, homing missiles, max missiles, and a temporary invincibility item called the No Damage Ball, each offering distinct offensive or defensive capabilities. This page provides a detailed breakdown of the areas and boss encounters for Day 1 of the intense training simulation in Burning Force. It includes a map-like overview showing the path and location of items throughout the morning, afternoon, and night sections. The guide offers specific strategies for defeating the bosses encountered in each part of the day. The morning boss, Missile Mirror, is described as relatively easy if targeted with wide-range shots. The afternoon boss, Orborg, requires attention due to its rapid movement, making homing missiles effective. And the night boss, New Hanner, is noted for its simultaneous laser and cross-laser attacks, suggesting the latter is preferable for later stages. A special section features a hint from Teacher Kyoko,
pointing out that the weak point of the new Hanner boss is its center. This page continues the training simulation guide for Burning Force, focusing on Day 2, which takes place in the Saranuka Sands. It follows a similar format to the previous day, providing a map-like overview of the morning, afternoon, and night sections of the course. The guide details the enemies and item locations encountered throughout the day. It highlights the boss encounters for each time period. In the morning, you face the robot generator, described as appearing from the left and requiring you to target its core, advising retreat if it gets too close. The afternoon brings the metal snake, and the guide points out its weak point is the head, recommending homing missiles due to its slow movement. The night section features intense enemy missile barrages that need to be shot down, leading to the final boss of the day, the Cylon. Teacher Kyoko returns with a hint, stating the Cylon's weak point is specific spot, and adds that the shy Cylon hides quickly, so you need to shoot it rapidly, warning that it's dangerous when above. This page presents the guide for Day 3 of Burning Force, set in the aerospace stage. Following the format of the previous day, it maps out the course for the morning, afternoon, and night sections, indicating enemy and item layouts. The morning challenge features the Versus 4 fighter boss. The guide advises taking out the 2 barrier cyborgs first with missiles, noting they only attack with their upper bodies. The afternoon section, Versus Heart Gold, is characterized by numerous obstacles requiring precise jumping and advanced technique. This boss moves multidirectionally, and its weak point is highlighted as being directly where missiles hit, making homing missiles effective. Finally, the night section brings intense ground attacks, suggesting you gain altitude for safety, with the top center being the most secure position. The boss is Versus Darling 4. Teacher Kyoko provides a crucial hint for this boss. Its weak point consists of 2 rapidly rotating orbs, Tamayama, that must be destroyed with missiles and persistence.
This page continues the guide for Burning Force, starting with Day 4, Grassland. As the guide notes, the difficulty ramps up considerably from this day, with enemies and obstacles becoming tougher. The morning section highlights enemy spawn points, which can be destroyed to thin the ranks, and suggests staying high on the path for safety against certain attacks, advising that invincibility items are highly beneficial here. The afternoon section shows the course layout with various enemies and item pickups like missile, homing, and cluster types. The night section mentions that only 2 types of items are effective, recommending the cluster laser if available. The guide then moves on to Day 5, Another World. For the morning section, there's a specific tip about the jump platforms. The first one is a decoy, and you must use the second one immediately after to acquire an item. The afternoon section warns about numerous falling stone pillars that are tough to destroy, suggesting that evasion is the faster strategy.
This page continues the Burning Force guide, shifting focus to strategies for various bosses and challenging sections encountered in later stages. It provides tactical advice for confronting enemies like the Bob Generator, suggesting evasion is key. The Light Shooter, identified as a mid-boss, has an orange weak point that's vulnerable to homing missiles. The large boss Dugaruta's weak point is also susceptible to homing missiles, with evasion recommended. The Sand Mars, or OK Fastener, is only vulnerable when it descends, and again homing missiles are advised. For the Sign Hunter section, the guide explicitly tells players to ignore certain jump platforms and take a direct route to an item, after which homing missiles should be used. Finally, the guide covers the Hurricane boss encountered at night, noting it attacks in large groups from behind, its weak points are its eyes, and homing missiles are effective. Commentator teacher Kazuko reinforces the weak points for both Dugaruta and Hurricane. Screenshots of these encounters and stage layouts are included. This page covers Gyanbura Jikochushinha Katayama Masayuki no Mahjong Dojo. Roughly translates to Gyanbura Self-Centered Faction, Katayama Masayuki's Mahjong Dojo, for the Sega Mega Drive. This is a mahjong game based on a popular manga by Masayuki Katayama. The preview highlights that the game is coming to the Mega Drive, having previously appeared on PC Engine Credrum Squared. Its main appeal is the cast of 21 unique characters from the manga, promising lively mahjong sessions. 2 specific game modes are mentioned as original to the Mega Drive version. Let's Study in Suwanko High School, class competition match, where the player becomes a transfer student aiming to conquer the school, and Mahjong Dojo, a mode designed to deepen mahjong knowledge through problems and diagnoses. There's also an amateur 3-minute study corner, 3, section, providing a basic rundown of mahjong rules and tile combinations, like sequences, triplets, pairs, and quads, explaining the fundamental structure of a winning hand. Screenshots show game interfaces, character portraits, and scenes from the story mode. This page continues the look at Gyanbura Jikochushinha Katayama Masayuki no Mahjong Dojo. It details the class competition match mode, where you challenge and defeat different groups within the school in a series of matches, eventually leading to a final confrontation and ending. The mode features a helpful continue system and the option to change the background music during gameplay, which the reviewer notes as a nice touch. The page also includes a section from Mahjong expert Masayuki Katayama himself, reflecting on the noble and historical nature of Mahjong. He offers advice on playing with sincerity and lists 7 key points for improving your game, emphasizing strategic thinking, patience, and avoiding unnecessary risks. This section serves as a valuable guide for players looking to deepen their understanding and approach to Mahjong beyond simple tile matching. The screenshots show story progression scenes and the in-game Mahjong layout. This page introduces the many opponents you'll face in Gyanbura Jikochushinha Katayama Masayuki no Mahjong Dojo, grouped into factions like the Egotistical Faction, Fear Octopus Army, Superman Army, and Tenorins. Each character is profiled with a pixel art portrait, a signature quote, a description of their personality or playing style, and a rank from A to D. The descriptions provide insights into their unique quirks, such as Mochisugi Dorao's overwhelming strength, or the Tenorins group featuring girls with varying levels of skill and luck. It's essentially a guide to the diverse cast of competitors you can challenge in the game. This page continues introducing the many opponents players will face in the Mahjong game Gyanbura Jikochushinha Katayama Masayuki no Mahjong Dojo. It showcases characters from various factions, including the Tsukan Army, Kapakegi Army, and other armies. Each character, such as Toyotomi Hideyuki, Hayami Akina, and Bababuro, is presented with their pixel art portrait, a memorable quote reflecting their personality, a description of their playing style and quirks, and their skill rank. The page also details the Mahjong Dojo mode, which serves as a tutorial and testing ground for players. Presented as an exam, this mode covers essential subjects like Mahjong rules, scoring calculations, and player mindset. Sample test questions are shown covering topics such as high-probability Yakuman hands and handling Riichi penalties. After the exam, players receive their results and advice from the game's teachers, regardless of their score. This section highlights the game's effort to educate players on Mahjong fundamentals. The next page jumps into the exciting world of Aero Flash on the Sega Mega Drive, released October 20th for 6,000 yen. This is a true transformation shooter. Unlike earlier titles where the transformation was just cosmetic, Aero Flash offers distinct gameplay advantages depending on whether you're in fighter or robot form, essential for navigating its challenging 5 stages and dealing with the vibrant, flashy onslaught of enemies. The page includes a mini-theater setting up the premise. Space pirates threaten Earth after a failed experiment, and it's up to the hero Starna in her transformable ship, the Luciphon, ERC-75, to stop them. A key feature is the Aero Flash special attack, with different effects for each form. You can use a charged version by holding SE, or a stock version for instant use. The robot form also has a temporary invincibility mode, Trance, allowing for ramming attacks. The game features diverse enemies, including transforming foes, keeping the action dynamic. Aero Flash Stage 1, set in Earth's atmosphere, emphasizes early power-ups. Players should practice transformations and the Aero Flash attack against varied but weak enemies. A demo scene is featured. An early item collection is crucial. The Stage 1 boss, Axe, is described as an easy opponent. An item guide details essential power-ups, including lasers, Laser Y, Laser 2, Laser 2I, missiles, which become homing in robot form, the Fire Claw option for increased attack, the energy barrier for defense, and speed boosts, with caution advised regarding overspeeding. This page moves on to Stage 2 of Aero Flash, set in the challenging space and gas planet environment. This is where the real fight begins, with tough enemies displaying complex movements and attacking in formations, demanding constant attention. The stage design is varied, starting with a tricky asteroid field and transitioning into a maze-like section, making the interplay between terrain and weapons crucial. Acquiring the right items at the right time, like the laser power-up before the maze, is key to a smooth run. You'll face familiar fixed turrets, often placed in cunning blind spots, as well as agile enemy fighters that appear at specific timings. Watch out when the Dorina K6 enemies attack in formation. The boss for Stage 2 is Blast. This tough adversary typically uses spread shots and ramming attacks, but can expand its front to unleash a torrent of piercing lasers. The page also details the 3 levels of the main laser power-up. Level 1 provides a wide shot. Level 2 doubles the beams for better coverage against lined-up enemies. Level 3 transforms all main weapons, including the Fire Claw, into powerful lasers, enabling the widest attack range, particularly with the robot form's large wave shot. This page delves into the challenging later stages of Aeroflash, starting with Stage 3, a visually intense hyperspace battle. The psychedelic backgrounds make targeting enemies difficult, featuring foes like the Vanished Dog 3 that utilize short warps, and the Solomos Dog 2, which transforms to fire bazookas. The stage shifts to the inside of a crystal planet, offering a clearer view but presenting tough enemy patterns and obstacles. The boss for Stage 3 is a Zam, a formidable opponent attacking with tail swings and a powerful laser cutter. Moving on, Stage 4 is a high-speed freefall descent into the enemy's biological planet base. This stage is all about dodging enemies that attack from all directions during the rapid fall. Items appear frequently and must be acquired quickly. The game suggests utilizing the robot form and its homing missiles for greater ease in navigating this thrilling freefall sequence. This guide offers final strategies for the challenging shooter, Hellfire, particularly focusing on stages 5 and 6. Recognizing the game's difficulty, typical of Toplanza-class shooters, it assumes players have utilized power-ups, including the Cyber Cannon and various items. The guide builds upon previous stages, highlighting the increasing difficulty. Specific enemy strategies are provided. The Tiger transport vehicle requires players to destroy turrets and the core before it speeds away, as the vehicle itself is indestructible. The Hozuki unit features challenging static turrets hidden behind structures and easier floating turrets. Finally, Robot Release involves poles that deploy robots, with the suggested strategy focusing on the pole's tip to eliminate the robots as they appear and avoid getting trapped. This page continues the strategy guide for the tough Toplan shooter, Hellfire. It dives into Stage 5, noting its unique, regularly patterned enemies that can be predictable with careful mapping and simulation. The guide mentions the stage transitions to vertical scrolling at the end, and stresses the importance of being powered up, suggesting the hypercannon might be best saved for Stage 6. Specific strategies are given for a missile gate, recommending blue or green lasers to clear the turrets quickly. A tough enemy called Svel is detailed. It has high defense and requires specific positioning near walls with the blue laser or the hypercannon if the blue shot can't reach. Finally, the guide tackles the Stage 5 boss, Shianen, a stationary enemy composed of 5 powerful cannons firing vertically. There are no safe zones, and weak shots are ineffective. The recommended strategy is to use a powered-up weapon while dodging or deploy the hypercannon. This page continues the strategy guide for the challenging shooter, Hellfire, focusing entirely on the final Stage 6. It describes Stage 6 as exceptionally difficult, featuring a continuous onslaught of large enemies and swarms of smaller ones, with the screen quickly becoming crowded if you hesitate. The guide emphasizes the critical need to defeat enemies rapidly, and advises against overusing the hypercannon early in the stage. The one-point advice section highlights key threats. It identifies Midgard, Asgard, and Jotunheim as the strongest enemies, noting their numerous cannons and tough armor. Strategies for these include targeting Midgard's rear with the hypercannon, and Asgard's rear, while being wary of its mobile turret. Jotunheim is deemed the toughest, utilizing homing missiles and mobile turrets. The guide also warns about massive missiles that appear, requiring destruction or precise dodging in a wave pattern as they home in on the Hellfire ship, especially noting the rapid screen scroll that follows. Finally, it discusses the damned enemies appearing from below during fast scrolling, which only move horizontally and are the only item drops in Stage 6, advising players to avoid the bottom of the screen. Screenshots illustrate the various enemies and the player ship throughout these sections. This page details several enemies found in Hellfire and discusses the game's unique weapon system. It presents enemy profiles including the Tool, a turret hidden in structures, the Yacht Tool, a flying pursuit enemy, the Svel, a large ground cannon, Zenbu, a multi-turreted stationary enemy, Egar, a small zigzagging flyer, and the Damned, the item-dropping horizontal mover. It also revisits the larger enemies from Stage 6 discussed previously, Midgard,
Asgard, and Jotunheim, highlighting their high point values and various armaments like cannons and missiles. The lower section focuses on the strategic elements added, specifically the 4 distinct weapon types. The reviewer notes that Hellfire, being a horizontal shooter from Toaplan, was already somewhat experimental for the company. The most notable departure, however, is the selectable weapon system, allowing players to switch between forward, rear, diagonal, and side shots on demand. The reviewer considers this approach successful in adding strategy to the shooting genre, though they ponder if having 4 options might be slightly overwhelming, especially during busy boss fights with surrounding enemies. Overall, they suggest that mastering the weapon switching is key to success, and with the difficulty set reasonably, it shouldn't be an insurmountable hurdle. This page introduces Granada, Wolf Team's top-down action shooter, a port from the popular X68000 home computer. The game puts you in control of a tank called Granada, navigating stages to destroy key targets marked on the radar. Clearing all targets leads to a boss encounter. The gameplay is described as simple yet potentially addictive, featuring a shield system that absorbs damage and various support units found throughout the stages that provide special attacks. The screen layout is explained, detailing elements like your score, remaining lives, shield status, time limit, radar displaying targets, and your position, your tank, and icons for collected support units. The story section provides background lore, setting the game in a future where large-scale weapons are restricted, leading to the development of maneuver scepters like Granada. The plot involves a conflict in Africa, where these machines are first deployed. Screenshots show the game's top-down perspective, the tank, enemies, and the user interface. The article notes, the game includes configuration options to adjust difficulty and listen to the game's music. Overall, it presents Granada as an action-packed title, with strategic depth provided by its shield and support items, building on the success of its computer original. Grenada on the Mega Drive features a powerful blaster weapon with recoil, delivering significant damage. The game introduces a fixed turret technique, enabling directional firing while moving. 5 support units, akin to Ultra 7 capsules, offer diverse abilities. The Reflector, Balvarian, Cromlech, Epaulette, and Hidon. The Mega Drive port, while commendable, shows a graphical difference compared to the original X68000 version, particularly in color depth, making the latter appear cleaner. However, the core gameplay and enjoyment remain largely intact, emphasizing the game's inherent fun. The article suggests prioritizing gameplay over technical disparities, ultimately highlighting Granada's engaging experience on the Mega Drive. This page details the first stage of Granada, the Tabora district. It's an urban environment where you'll navigate through city streets and structures. Be aware that certain patterned areas on the ground can slow your movement, making you an easier target, so learn the terrain quickly. The stage features indestructible roller obstacles that move left and right. The best way to pass them is by timing your movement carefully to slip through the gaps, avoiding damage. The boss for this stage appears in the bottom right of the map. This large boss has the unusual ability to jump and even float, trying to stomp on you. Crucially, the boss is invincible while airborne. The key strategy here is to use your support units effectively. Deploying a unit will often attract the boss, allowing you to lure it into a favorable position. Wait until the boss lands before unleashing your blaster attack. The boss primarily attacks with stomps and explosive rounds. This page moves on to Stage 2 of Granada, taking you to the skies above the Marsabit area for a battle against the giant aerial battleship Astarcia. This huge boss is your main objective here. The strategy involves first taking down the 8 engines located on the wings, which are highlighted as targets. After that, the boss's weak point is revealed in the center of its body. You should use your blaster attack on these points. Be careful when moving around the wings. The article warns against falling off the edge, as this will cost you a life. There are also support units, specifically the Epaulette, placed on the wingtips, which are small and easy to miss, but recommended to pick up. The boss is described as simulating rotational movement, and its main weak point is in the center. It's not overly strong, so focus on attacking the weak point while moving back. The vertical text confirms the game being discussed is Granada. The next page details Stage 3 of Granada, known as the Sheba area. This futuristic city features towering multi-level highways, and like the previous stage, a misstep off the edge means losing a life. While most roads have guardrails, some areas feature mesh ground where defeating enemies opens up dangerous holes, so stay clear. Navigating the highway labyrinth towards your target requires careful attention to the map. Beware the laser turret enemy, which spins and fires in all directions. While it deals heavy damage, its rotation isn't uniform,
allowing skilled players to dodge its beams. The stage culminates in a two-phase boss fight. The initial phase isn't too tough, involving simple left-right movement and basic shots. The real challenge is the second phase. The boss continues to move horizontally, but unleashes a long, devastating flame attack from its central weak point. Dodging this requires precise timing. There's a brief window after the firing port opens before the flame erupts. Keep your attacks focused on the boss, especially its firing point, while mastering the dodge timing. This page covers Stage 4 of Granada, known as the Kiromoto area. The stage takes place at night, with only the area around the Granada vehicle lit by spotlights, making visibility difficult elsewhere. The map is structured in 2 levels. A key point is that enemies on a higher level cannot be defeated from a lower level, but you can attack enemies on a lower level from a higher one. You can only move between these levels at specific locations, so pay attention to the map. There are also large rock-like obstacles, some of which are the unmanned TMC units of the Special Task Force. When you get close to a Granada, they detect your movement and charge at you, dealing significant damage. Defeating all the targets triggers the boss appearance. The boss's weak point seems to be at the back, making it appear difficult to defeat at first glance, but shooting the surrounding walls causes bullets to reflect back at the boss. Utilizing this reflection strategy makes the boss's attack itself not particularly challenging, so fighting calmly should prevent defeat. Small screenshots show the TMC units and the boss arena.
There's a warning about falling if you move too far forward when fighting the boss. This page features a strategy guide for the puzzle game, Junction. The game involves navigating a ball through a grid of blocks on a 5x8 board, utilizing block features to reach all checkpoints outside the frame to clear a stage. The key to success lies in understanding the unique characteristics of the various block types and the effects of items. The guide presents tips for stages 1 through 25, with the visible sections covering stages 1 to 11, each accompanied by a screenshot of the stage layout. Stage 1 is described as fundamental, focusing on mastering block movement and ball handling. Later stages, like 4, involve using pyramids and jumps effectively, while Stage 5 introduces branching paths and navigating checkpoints based on movement counts. Stages become progressively more complex, with Stage 10 noted as particularly challenging due to difficult stirred branching points and changing block movements. Stage 11 marks a significant shift in atmosphere with new backgrounds and music, while maintaining the branching path puzzle mechanic. The overall advice emphasizes challenging yourself first to get used to the high-action puzzle gameplay before diving into detailed guides. The next page continues the strategy guide for the puzzle game Junction. This section covers stages 12 through 25, providing a screenshot and brief tactical advice for each. The guide highlights the increasing difficulty and complexity of the stages, discussing specific challenges like navigating difficult block arrangements, utilizing branched blocks effectively, and dealing with disappearing blocks or tricky checkpoints. For instance, Stage 12 is noted for its non-flat blocks making horizontal ball movement difficult, while Stage 13 emphasizes understanding starting block positions. Stage 18 features large loops and small loops requiring careful navigation, and Stage 24 involves a large double loop that must be cleared messily but quickly due to the time limit. A separate section titled Backgrounds Change Every 10 Stages and Are Very Enjoyable showcases the diverse visual themes encountered throughout the game. It displays images representing stages 110, a lighthouse and beach, 1120, a glider in the sky, 2130, abstract flowing beads, 3140, a night amusement park with a Ferris wheel, and 4150, a mechanical scene with pistons and pipes. This demonstrates the game's visual variety beyond just the puzzle grid itself. This page covers Super Airwolf, known internationally as Crossfire, a vertical scrolling shooter based on the popular TV series. Releasing in November, the game boasts enhanced graphics and increased intensity, featuring 6 stages culminating in battles against huge, realistically animated boss aircraft. The storyline centers around battling a vast drug organization, operating from key locations in South America and Asia,
After various intelligence agencies fail to rescue kidnapped leaders, the task falls to Airwolf. The game features a diverse arsenal of attack weapons, including different types of shots, bombs for wide area damage, and guns used during ground sections. There's also a turbo ability, allowing the player's aircraft to ram enemies like a burning phoenix. Players will need to master these different weapons and manage their limited-use items like bombs and turbo effectively across changing air and ground environments to succeed. The page also features screenshots showcasing the various weapon effects and terrain, alongside an image of the character Archangel from the show. This page details the mission structure and features of Crossfire. The game progresses through distinct phases. Air battle, where you use weapons like hot, bomb, and turbo, collecting power-ups dropped by friendly planes. Ground battle, where Hawk fights on foot to reach the enemy base entrance. Navigating inside the enemy base. A maze to rescue hostages with destructible objects. And a return air battle, which is more challenging with tougher enemies and bosses. Clearing missions provides reward money for upgrades. Power-up items are crucial, offering shot power-ups, P, increased bomb, B, and turbo, T counts, extra lives, 1-up, and mysterious. The page also highlights the variety of enemies across the 6 missions, from simple large targets to innovative designs like aircraft that detach their wings to attack. This page features the Sega Mega Drive game Cutie Suzuki no Ringside Angel, an upcoming wrestling title starring the popular women's pro wrestler Cutie Suzuki. The main focus is the single-player mode, where the goal is to challenge and win 5 different major titles by progressing through various tournaments and league-style matches. The page includes screenshots showing a tournament bracket and a league points table illustrating this progression. Beyond the main quest, there are also other modes, including a 2-player mode for direct versus battles, a single match mode against the CPU, and a watch mode to view CPU matches. The game features a roster of wrestlers to choose from, and the chosen title influences the difficulty and available special moves. A profile is also included for Cutie Suzuki, detailing her real name, birth date, height, weight, and blood type, alongside mentions of her popularity through various media appearances. The page also shows screenshots of the title screen, mode select, and wrestler selection. This page delves into the gameplay mechanics of Cutie Suzuki no Ringside Angel, specifically focusing on how to execute wrestling techniques. It highlights the 2 main categories: normal techniques, available from the start, and special techniques, which become accessible as you progress and require your spirit meter to be flashing. Illustrations demonstrate examples of both types of moves, including powerful holds and throws like the Scorpion Deathlock and German Suplex. The page also provides a guide on interpreting the in-game screen display. Key elements explained are the displays for the players' and opponents' current available moves, the spirit meter for both wrestlers, and the commentary box. The spirit meter is crucial, increasing with successful attacks and decreasing when taking damage. Its value directly impacts the damage dealt, and a flashing meter is necessary to perform special techniques. Presentation features are also showcased, noting the lively commentary provided by in-game announcers. A replay system is highlighted, which automatically shows successful special or select moves after a match, adding to the spectacle. Finally, a brief preview teases coverage of Cutie Suzuki herself in the next issue. This page dives into Gaiaris, the upcoming shooter from Japan Telenet. It highlights the game's key features, presenting this as the second preview. The article focuses on the unique WOES option system, diverse power-ups, branching stages, striking boss characters, and its distillation of shooting game essentials. A major point is the WOES system, a weapon learning unit that gathers essence from destroyed enemies to gain new abilities, offering a dynamic power-up progression unlike other shooters. The game also features branching paths mid-stage, influencing difficulty based on the route chosen. Stage 1 kicks off in a space asteroid field, featuring the mid-boss Gilvers, which initially appears as 3 separate units before combining. The stage then presents the branching floating continent or giant cavern paths, culminating in the stage boss, the formidable Guardia. Stage 2 begins with an intense, diagonally scrolling atmospheric entry sequence. This stage is full of visual highlights and introduces the mid-boss Di Marina, whose appearance is noted as particularly surprising. Following this, the stage transitions to a beautiful snowfield area. Despite the serene background, the enemy attacks are relentless. This area concludes with the giant mid-boss Wave Dragon. The page showcases screenshots of the WOES system in action, the stage branching points, the Gilver's mid-boss, the Guardia boss, the atmospheric entry of Stage 2, and the snowfield area with various enemies, and the Wave Dragon. The text emphasizes the real character graphics and line scrolling, suggesting a visually impressive experience for the time. This page continues the in-depth look at Gyara's, picking up with the conclusion of Stage 2. The preview highlights the journey through the Iceberg Cave, noting its tight passages and waiting enemies like the spinning eye slash. It then transitions to the underwater section, presenting a massive waterfall that must be overcome. The description points out that this area rapidly fills with water from the falls, adding to the challenge. The fearsome Stage 2 boss, Dimarina, makes her appearance, noted for her surprising form and attacks, including lasers and spawning smaller enemies. Moving on to Stage 3, the article previews several distinct areas.
First is the visually striking subspace, characterized by its background of various colored lines. Following this is the Cosmic Temple, a wide stage featuring branching paths and numerous traps, making it a challenging area requiring constant attention. The mid-boss here is Vulcan, who employs both projectile and direct attacks. The stage also includes a black hole section, where the gravitational force makes controlling the ship difficult. The final encounter for Stage 3 is the boss, Deathgetter, a skeletal figure that appears suddenly and attacks with scythe-like lasers. While the attack isn't overly powerful, his sudden appearance demands careful positioning. The preview notes, Deathgetter is a departure from previous bosses and hints at more unique encounters to come. This page kicks off a new series exploring classic games, and fittingly, it starts with Nihon Falcom's action RPG masterpiece, Sorcerian. Released in 1987, it came out alongside other big RPG titles of the time like Hydlide 2i and The Scheme. A key feature discussed is the game's unique Sorcerian system, which allowed for expansion through scenario discs, essentially providing infinite new adventures. While this could potentially lead to inconsistent quality, the initial 15 scenarios were well received, making it a great system for both creators and players. The article highlights the innovative magic system, involving 126 types of spells created by combining the power of 7 stars according to specific rules. This complex system was a significant talking point upon release. Sorcerian saw releases on various platforms, including PC-88, PC-98, X1 Turbo, and even an acclaimed IBM PC version released by Sierra in the US. The most remarkable characteristic emphasized is the sheer volume of additional scenarios released over time. The game's system encouraged this, and including the Mega Drive version, over 50 scenarios were eventually available. This was unprecedented for an RPG at the time, which typically offered only one scenario. The screenshots show the game's side-scrolling action, character status, and possibly the magic creation interface. This article explores the expansion of the game Sorcerian through various scenario packs. Key additions include Additional Scenario Volume 1, known for its engaging maps like Thieves' Tower, and Sengoku Sorcerian, which introduced a historical Japanese setting. The Pyramid Sorcerian trilogy, notable for its puzzle-focused gameplay and unique structure with different directors, is also highlighted. The piece also reviews the Mega Drive version, released in 1990, praising its improved graphics and smooth gameplay. While limited in save slots and character creation compared to PC versions, it offered adjustable movement speed. The Mega Drive port was very successful. Furthermore, the article mentions scenario packs released by other companies, such as Brain Industry, expanding the variety of the Sorcerian world. The article concludes by noting the continuous release of new scenarios, keeping fans engaged and eager for new content. This page features a unique message from Nihon Falcom, the creators of titles like Sorcerian. The large text at the top boldly declares, "Please persuade Falcom," accompanied by a large, stylized Falcom logo, and their English motto, "Since 1981, we think about originality, we create the quality, we are Falcom, works made in Tokyo." The page explains Falcom's personality. They admit to being a bit awkward, not naturally sociable, and not keen on being flashy. But they are serious about their work, and appreciate interacting with others. Below, 2 highlighted sections elaborate on their unconventional approach. One states, "It's not recruitment, it's participation," suggesting they are looking for passionate individuals who want to contribute rather than just fill a position. The other, titled, "How to Persuade Falcom," explains there are no strict deadlines or requirements.
encouraging potential contributors to simply send their work or ideas with the confidence that it would benefit Falcom. The page is visually framed by a close-up image of a spiky, exotic fruit. This page showcases some of Nihon Falcom's prominent titles, while continuing their message about their unique company culture and recruitment style. At the top, the familiar, originative quality Falcom reinforces their brand identity. The page presents 3 of their acclaimed game series. First is Dragon Slayer, The Legend of Heroes, described as a reborn classic set in a rich world, focusing on the adventure of Prince Selos and featuring all characters as heroes. Next is YS2I, Wanderers from YS, part of the popular YS series, highlighting the journey of a doll and the feeling of growth through adventure, courage, love, and excitement, emphasizing the dynamic side-view action gameplay. Finally, Sorcerian is presented as a game offering an endlessly expanding dream world with a flexible system, promising exciting scenarios and surprising stories, where player characters can grow significantly through diverse methods, including magic, with 120 types available. The text for each game section briefly mentions the supported computer platforms. The bottom section continues Falcom's message, stating, "It's not that just anyone will do." It elaborates on what they are looking for: passionate individuals who want to contribute. They invite prospective contributors to send samples of their work, whether it's game programming, music composition, illustration, sending 3 examples, or game planning. It emphasizes that the key is demonstrating one's passion and ability, effectively selling yourself. Contact information for Nihon Falcom is provided at the bottom. This page dives into the world of integrated leisure parks, specifically focusing on Al Park in Hiroshima. Described as a comprehensive complex merging amusement and daily life elements, it's located near Junior Hiroshima Station. The main attraction covered here is the AM, Amusement Machine Center, which is split into 2 distinct areas within Al Park East Building's 4th floor: Fantasy Square and Rack 50. Fantasy Square caters to families and children, focusing on carnival games and AM versions of popular video games, creating a fun, playground-like atmosphere. Rack 50, on the other hand, is themed after 1950s America and offers a more adult space with a focus on metal games, including the ever-popular Sega Derby, alongside a cafe, aiming for a casino-like feel. The complex itself is vast, located across multiple buildings, and includes various retail, dining, and entertainment options. Notably, there's a large, impressive aquarium tunnel featured, which adds to the unique attractions available. The article highlights how Al Park aims to be a central hub for families and a significant draw for the area, providing a full day's worth of entertainment. This page introduces us to the people behind the arcades, starting with AM Center Gals Volume 2, featuring 2 staff members from Al Park's Fantasy Square. We get brief profiles, including their work hours, birthdays, hobbies, one likes heavy metal, and a sense of their fun, energetic workplace within the large Al Park complex, which they hope attracts visitors from across Japan. Group photos show the staff and the lively atmosphere near a merry-go-round, part of the family-friendly area discussed previously. Next, the Old Days Story section at Cosmo Media Kamada highlights the manager and his successful Old Game Corner. He explains how they deliberately installed nostalgic titles like Pengo and Karate-Do, which unexpectedly proved popular with a demographic beyond kids, high schoolers, and even salarymen. He's proud to offer a unique experience distinct from other arcades. The Working Osan's Corner features the manager of High-Tech Land Yoyogi, who focuses on customer service, despite the typical crowd being vocational school students and nighttime salarymen. He aims to make the arcade a place of exciting possibilities for visitors. The page also briefly returns to the Al Park discussion, noting the AM Center's surprising success in attracting customers and predicting 1 million visitors by the end of the year, showcasing its strength as a tenant within the larger complex. This page dives into the world of video games with the VG Club. The main feature is Taito's action platformer, Liquid Kids, known in Japan as Mizubaku Daibuken. You play as Hippopo, a young water mage, defending his homeland from the evil fire demon Papa, using bubble attacks called Mizubakudan. The review highlights the game's charming, fairy tale-like atmosphere and engaging gameplay, suitable for all ages. The page breaks down the game, showcasing Hippo's bubble attacks and how they affect enemies. It also details the 7 unique rounds, from the watery Waterland to the mechanical industry, and the final challenging Demon Castle, where Fire Demon Papa awaits. An interesting mechanic noted is how choosing different doors at the end of stages can alter your path and the game's difficulty. The article also touches on the variety of items available, from basic power-ups like the pump and bucket for your bubbles, to special items that boost Hippo's abilities, ensuring plenty of strategic depth. This section of the magazine also covers other titles, including Namco's Pistol Daimyo no Buken, Sega's GP Rider and Columns 2, and several SNK games like the Super Spy, Cyberlip, League Bowling, and Joy Joy Kid. This page delves deeper into Round 1, Woody Lake. From the charming action platformer Liquid Kids, it breaks down the round into 3 distinct stages, guiding players through the mechanics of using Hippopo's bubble attacks. Stage 1 focuses on practicing bubble usage, while Stage 2 introduces a longer horizontal level, with new interactive elements like logs that break and fall, revealing dangerous spikes below. Stage 2 also highlights the ability to water tree buds with bubbles to potentially uncover items or enemies, a mechanic useful later in the game, and mastering the use of bubbles on water wheels. The final stage of Round 1 features the Midnight Flower mini-bosses and culminates in a fight against the Round 1 boss, the Fat Rabbit. This section details the Fat Rabbit's unique movement and attack pattern, emphasizing that its open belly is the weak point. The variety in boss movements is noted as a characteristic feature of the game. Additionally, the page briefly introduces Namco's comical shooting game, Pistol Daimyo no Buken. It describes the unique protagonist who fires a bazooka from his head and mentions the item collection system involving breaking pots to get flower cards, which in turn lead to medicine balls offering various benefits. The game is praised for its colorful presentation and fun gameplay. This page reviews 3 arcade games. First, Sega's GP Rider, a motorcycle racing game known for its intense, low-angle visuals and 2-player link-up capabilities. Players can choose between automatic and manual transmission, and compete in a 4-lap final race after qualifying. The arcade cabinet is also notable. Next is Columns 2, a puzzle game sequel, also from Sega. It emphasizes versus play, with special attacks like Vanish, Down, and Raise, allowing for 2-player battles on a single coin. A solo Flash Columns mode is also available, all presented with stylish graphics. Finally, the Super Spy from SNK is a first-person 3D action game with RPG elements. Players control a CIA officer on a mission to stop a terrorist group across 2 areas, utilizing various weapons and navigating 3D environments. The game features hidden maps and character portraits of bosses. This page delves deeper into SNK's first-person action game, the Super Spy, providing a map and essential tips for Area 1. It warns players about enemies converging if they stand still, and new foes appearing from the ceiling if spotted by security cameras. Screenshots show helpful NPCs and combat encounters within the game's environments. The focus then shifts to upcoming Neo Geo titles, highlighting 3 new games following the Super Spy. First up is Cyberlip, a 2-player horizontal scrolling shooter featuring protagonists Rick and Brooke, where players blast through 7 stages to destroy a supercomputer. Next is League Bowling, a comprehensive bowling simulation supporting multiple players, offering various game modes, including head-to-head score challenges. Finally, Joy Joy Kid, known as Puzzled internationally, is introduced as Neo Geo's first puzzle game, challenging players to clear blocks using strategic placement and utilizing falling pieces. Screenshots showcase the distinct gameplay of each title. The page concludes with an extensive list of rental shops across Japan stocking Neo Geo games, indicating the system's rapidly increasing popularity and growing software availability nationwide. This page features another installment of the Mega Drive Expert Course, this time focusing on Strider. Released not long ago, this lesson covers the challenging stages 4 and 5, providing tips for players who might be struggling to advance. The guide emphasizes easier clearing methods, particularly useful for those who find the game difficult. Stage 4, the Amazon, begins with a collapsing bridge, setting a tough start. Players need to trigger exploding mushrooms by jumping, ride on dinosaurs like the Brontosaurus, swing on vines, and watch out for rolling rocks. Getting invincibility items is key here. The stage description also touches on encountering a mechanized dinosaur boss. Moving on to Stage 5, the final stage, players immediately face a mechanical crab boss. Near a structure resembling a satellite dish, you can acquire 2 valuable items. The stage involves dealing with enemies firing from off-screen, and navigating platforms to confront later bosses and enemies. This page continues the expert course for Strider, guiding players through some of the game's toughest challenges after Stage 5. It highlights areas like the gravity reverse section, where jumping upward visually appears as falling downward, requiring careful navigation past obstacles like spike traps and a laser-firing robot. The guide advises defeating the robot quickly. Further into the stages, you'll encounter the Chinese girl enemy. Crouching in the corner makes her attacks less effective. Defeating her opens a path forward to collect a useful option item. There's also a difficult section with spikes emerging from the floor, where the key is timing your movement and latching onto the ceiling between traps. The page then moves on to the boss encounters in the later stages.
It discusses facing the anti-gravity device robot, suggesting destroying a nearby laser unit first. An upgraded version of the reflective laser boss from Stage 1 returns, now much faster, requiring quick reactions, potentially jumping right to dodge its beam. Another challenging duo involves the Mechapong and Tyrannosaurus robots appearing together, with the advice to focus on defeating one before the other. The guide also mentions a combination of a crab-type robot and Solo, recommending a slow, careful approach. Finally, it touches upon the endgame, where Ouroboros transports Strider Hiryu to the final area to face the ultimate challenge.
This page presents the BeepMD Reader giveaway, where a total of 100 lucky readers can win various prizes. The selection is quite varied, featuring games like the Mega Drive shooter Aeroflash and Master System titles, including Rainbow Islands, Burning Force, Fire Shark, Kenseiden, Triformation, Phantasy Zone 2, known as Opa Opa in Japan, and a zillion, often depicted with screenshots or box art. Beyond games, merchandise is also up for grabs, such as a Neo Geo branded towel and a special arrangement music tape, a poster for the game Air Inferno, a telecard featuring art from the anime Devil Hunter Yoko, a special pair of watches, and even a mystery card game titled Tokyo Crisis. The number of winners for each prize differs, offering a wide range of items for readers to enter to win. This page features a special mail-order guide for Technosoft game music crids. 3 volumes are available, each priced at 2,300 yen, including tax and shipping. Volume 1 includes music from classics like Thunder Force 2 and Gyokusetsu. Volume 2 features arrangements from Herzog Zwei and Shin Gyokusetsu. Volume 3 contains original and arranged music from Thunder Force 2i.
Ordering details are provided, including sending cash by mail.
The section mentions that goods are shipped within 3 days of receiving payment, and exchanges are offered for damaged items. The text also discusses the anticipation surrounding the upcoming Super Famicom launch, but highlights the Mega Drive's unique character and upcoming releases, noting a powerful lineup expected around year-end, with a December issue release mentioned. There's a question telephone line for inquiries about the magazine's content, and a recruitment notice seeking writers for Mega Drive game and general news articles. Finally, a large section outlines a reader survey covering demographics, Mega Drive software ownership, opinions on games like Strider, Hellfire, and Rainbow Islands, desired future ports, and readers' choices for best and worst Mega Drive software. A staff list is also included. This page showcases the upcoming fantasy action shooter Elemental Master from Technosoft, known for their quality productions. The bold text across the top declares, "Here, a new legend begins."
Below the striking logo and title, we see glimpses of the game in action. One screenshot highlights a frantic boss battle, another shows vertical scrolling gameplay with a unique perspective, and a third features the intriguing stage select screen, suggesting players will have a choice in the order they tackle the elemental levels. The status is clearly stated, now under development. This preview builds excitement for Technosoft's next title, adding to the strong lineup expected for the Mega Drive.
This page features a powerful lineup from Technosoft, highlighting 3 of their impressive titles for the Mega Drive. At the top is Thunder Force 2i, a thrilling horizontal scrolling shooter celebrated for its detailed graphics, scaled characters, adjustable ship speed, and impactful weaponry. The text mentions enhanced voice and sound effects, promising a powerful stereo experience. A note highlights Kaoru from the Technosoft Gals Club providing voice work. The game was now on sale for 6,800 yen, with screenshots showcasing its intense gameplay and fiery backgrounds. Below that is Herzog Zwei, a pioneering title that blends shooting action with real-time strategy simulation. It boasts industry-first split-screen display, allowing for simultaneous action across the map. Players command units that automatically engage targets, making for a dynamic and engaging experience in this unique genre. It's noted for its dynamic, clear sound and voice, priced at 6,800 yen.
Screenshots show both the strategic map view and close-up combat.
Finally, the page showcases Thunder Force 2 MD, the Mega Drive port of the series' second entry. This title offers varied stage designs, with both 8-direction top-down and horizontal scrolling segments, along with speed adjustments. It features abundant power-ups across all 9 stages and a vast map. Like its successor, it emphasizes a dynamic hi-fi sound and voice experience, also priced at 6,800 yen, excluding tax. Screenshots illustrate both the signature top-down exploration and horizontal shooting segments. Overall, this page presents Technosoft as a developer delivering high-quality, action-packed games for the Mega Drive. This page unveils the Sega Game Library, a groundbreaking new media space that is finally launching for the Mega Drive. This service allows players to download games using a communication system. Becoming a member grants access to the library. And a particularly exciting feature is the ability to play games with friends across distances, ushering in early online multiplayer experiences. Initial planned games for the service include a putter golf title and a unique Phantasy Star II text adventure, with a promise of more new games to be added regularly. To access the Sega Game Library, players need the Mega Modem and a dedicated Sega Net cartridge, available together for 12,800 yen. The powerful 16-bit Mega Drive console itself is also featured, listed at a standard price of 21,000 yen, serving as the essential hardware for this new era of connectivity and gaming.